Hello. How's my Teaserking family doing today? What another week in college football. It's freaking believable. I think I had two losers. Lost with BYU. They're pushing it 38-20 and a late touchdown by Utah State's backup quarterback. The thought of the pick was Utah State's a Z team, BYU at home. They score a lot. They scored 38, but their defense didn't show up, which is surprising. They've had a good defense. First lock, UCLA as a home dog to Washington. UCLA, I have a -7. They're getting 3 instead. They easily win 40-32. Lock one's in there. How did I come up with it? UCLA's an over. Hey, Nick. Yeah, I just locked them myself. I saw the Georgia at 50. I thought was who they're playing. Auburn has absolutely no. If they don't shut out Auburn, I'll be shocked. But Auburn's got a good defense. It's a perfect play, and so is UCLA. I thought was extremely. I was expecting a 70. I mean, they put up 72 with Washington. In Utah, I watched the Utah game, and Oregon State, Chase Nolan got hurt or got pulled. He threw a few interceptions. I only know some other guys out there, and he didn't look too bad. They were marching on Utah. It's not like Utah's got this Georgia defense, and Rising just moves them. So I think this is definitely that could be the halftime score of that game. But, yeah, I agree. I already posted that. So you already got that. And I'm looking at others. The one we talked about yesterday, I played with Tampa Bay. They're not going to lose 3 in a row, and they always beat Atlanta. So that's number 2. I'll email that one to you. So this is why I grade. This is why I grade the teams. So I got Washington as an A team. They're a good offense. Penix, where was he last year when we were losing money betting on him because he was so good the year before? And UCLA is UCLA. That's why I like betting balanced teams, especially as home dogs. So this should have been played maybe not in 2 locks, but in 2 or 3 games. This is what you're looking for to play in 2 or 3 teasers is UCLA as a home dog to Washington, not Georgia, not Alabama, but to Washington, who's okay, but they're more of an offensive team, and UCLA was pounding them. Washington scored late to make it not 40-20. So that's how you come up with it. Both teams were A's. I picked UCLA by 7, and then the real spread comes out, Washington -3. They think they're smarter than the professor, and that's where I when I go to Vegas and I kind of laugh at them going, this is what happened with Michigan, Ohio State. That story I tell you a couple of years ago when they made Michigan favored. And I said, you got to be kidding. Ohio State's won 19 out of 20. And the only time they lost was JT Barrett was a freshman, and they should have won that one. And I said, you got the wrong – oh, no, we know what we're doing. The spread comes out -11. Ohio State won by 25. And I had Ohio State 3.5 because I bet it in August. And it's the same thing. You don't understand what the hell you're doing. You've got the wrong team favored, and they did. And same thing here. UCLA should have been a 3-point favorite. Probably would have still bet them. But when you make them a home dog, that's what we're looking for. Well, they're on the site, but it doesn't roll over till Monday night. I'll email it to you. But Monday night, because of the Monday night game, so if you buy a week, right, it ends tonight. So you get tonight's game, which we took, and then at midnight it rolls to the next week on Tuesday because this is all weeks, right? So I do it by weeks. So I'll email you the other lock, but that's why I try to tell you, like, if I do something today, I'll email you what I did, but you won't see it till 12:01 tonight after it's just the way it is. That way, if people come on to see tonight's game, it's got to be there for them, right? So they've got to see the Monday night game, and I don't know how else to cut the week off because we're selling weeks. So that's what it is. But I'll let you know. Anyway, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the better team getting points, and that's kind of how you do your lock. Then you just check your injuries, which we did, and Robinson was healthy, and the running back was healthy. Charbonnet from Michigan. He goes to Michigan, goes back to UCLA, and now Michigan's doing running backs. Vegas, New Mexico. I kind of hesitated on this one. I thought the line was high. I had it by 10. Vegas is much improved this year. They're much more of an over team. And look, the over-under was 43 or something like that. And so it shows, once you look at this game, is you see Vegas doesn't have that good of a defense because New Mexico puts up 20 and they don't have any offense. And Vegas still got the 31. So New Mexico is a very good defensive team. So what you take out of it is Vegas can move on anybody, but their defense is weak. So they're a good over team. When you get them against over teams, they're going to score on them, but they're going to give up a lot. So it's a very good over team. Georgia Tech beats Pitt. Very surprising. Georgia Tech's a Z team. So now you got the Z team wins on the road. Now Slovis did play for Pitt. I don't know if he's all screwed up from the head or the head injury or what, but that's shocking. The shocking part is Pitt only scored 21, as well as Georgia Tech scoring 26. So now you got to reevaluate. So now we watch Georgia Tech and Pitt this week to see what's going on. That's a red flag that comes in. So now is Georgia Tech, they're still a Z team statistically, but maybe they're getting better or getting used to the new coordinators, whatever it is. So be careful with the Georgia Tech being a Z team. You got to see who they're playing. Virginia Tech, North Carr 41-10, very high scoring team. Virginia Tech has no offense, usually a good defense, but North Carr got them. This is my third play, Oak State Baylor. Tease the dog. That even. You don't think about it. You don't think, well, Baylor, they're good. They beat, they beat Texas, Oklahoma, somebody. You don't care about that. You just look at this game and Oak State, Baylor, two good quarterbacks, two good teams. Anybody can win. Tease the dog. And that's when I say tease the dog. This is a game I'm looking for to tease the dog. Spread was 2.5. Oak State 8.5. They won easy, 36-25. So you don't even pay attention. Now, I will look at the score and I go, well, they put up 36 on Baylor. Baylor's got a good defense. Obviously, they're an A team. So Oak State's offense is really good. So I might use them this week. But there you go. So now I'm 2-1 with Oak State as tease the dog because it's an even game. Wake Forest, Florida State, double play, tease the dog, wins. My other lock over loses 65, 64, 66, somewhere in the neighborhood. I needed 58, 59. They're at 52. And Florida and Wake Forest does a Green Bay. They start milking the clock. They get to the goal line. They kick a field goal. They're up 28-21. And then Florida State needs 2 scores. So instead of going for the touchdown, they try to kick like a 55-yard field goal, and the kicker can't make it. That wouldn't have helped me anyway. Then I would have needed the onside kick and everything. So I needed that touchdown, and I think I would have been close, but not there. I was a little bit surprised. Wake Forest is an over team. So if I do a lock over or a lock under, both teams better be unders or overs. In this case, Wake Forest is an over team. I mean, their defense gives up 30, 35 points a game. Clemson put up a 50 on them. And sometimes we get a little misled. We see Wake Forest, Clemson, and we go, oh, Wake Forest, Clemson. And Clemson's got this great defense, and it was a 100-point game, and you're like, oh, well, they played Florida State. They're an explosive offense. Clemson just got done, and they're not as offensive as as Clemson. They're better offensive. You know, Wake with Hartman, they're going to score. So it just was a strange. Florida State didn't show up, which was surprising. Not that like Wake Forest doesn't have that good a defense. That was the basis of the bet. Florida State with a decent defense and supposedly good offense. The quarterback was playing, and I'm really shocked they only got 21 on Wake. Wait till they play Clemson. They're going to get shut out if that's what they do. So this was the only losing lock I had, 6-1 on the locks. West Virginia, Texas. I leaned towards Texas, but I didn't play it because I wasn't sure where they're at. They got a great running back. West Virginia is kind of bad, weak defense. Over under 62, they would have covered that, but I don't know West Virginia that much. And Texas wins 38-20, laying 8. So Texas at home after the loss. So again, what happened? Texas Tech and Kansas State beat Oklahoma and Texas. So Texas is mad, and they're at home, and they're okay. They get the win. Now Oklahoma, off of the loss to Texas Tech, Kansas State beats them, gets TCU, and I'm on TCU, and they kill them. I mean, I knew Oklahoma was not Oklahoma. They're a different team this year, right, with the new coach. I know they're not explosive. And TCU I saw against SMU, and they're just explosive as hell. I knew they'd stay close. But they just it killed them. I mean, 55-24. Now you don't know Oklahoma anymore. Their quarterback got hurt, apparently, Gabriel from UCF. He's out. So now you don't know what Oklahoma is. And we know TCU, just mighty strong. I mean, I don't care. You put up 55. But see, Oklahoma, off the loss, goes on the road, and they're still emotionally drained. I would look for a big win this week, but they're playing Texas. I'm not even touching Oklahoma this week. NC State Clemson, again, tease the dog. So Oklahoma TCU was 2 A teams, which is turning into TCU's the A team, and Oklahoma's not even an A team anymore. Clemson, NC State, tease the dog. Dog wins 30-20. Clemson laying 7. You had NC State in 13. That's a winner. Now, what I'm noticing, Clemson puts up 30 points on a really good defense. Now I'm thinking Clemson is not this under team where Buglia can't complete 5 passes, and he's still not a good quarterback, but they're getting more points. Still, their defense I thought would be better is okay. So I looked for I think Clemson's getting better. The quarterback's not throwing the interceptions. I think he's not that good, but he's not throwing the interceptions. He's just throwing the ball away. So he can't decide. He still can't read a blitz, but he does run. That's more his ability than throwing. And so that's what you got. But again, A versus A, tease the dog, another winner. Air Force Navy, I thought the spread was high, 14, and I thought it would be under, but the under was 38, so I didn't play it, but it was an under game, 13-10. These teams, Army, Navy, Air Force, all run virtually the same offense, so they know how to defend it because they practice against it. So most teams, when they play Army, Navy, Air Force, they've never seen that offense, and you can't practice against it. So that's where they get these games. But when they play each other, they know exactly how to defend it, and that's why they're normally low scoring. Army, Navy, you're lucky if they get to 25 in the game. That's a lock under every year, and then I've won it 10 years in a row. Michigan, Iowa, this is lock number 3. Excuse me. If I talk a lot, I get this cough. I didn't like the 11 with Michigan, but I love the under 42, under 48. Iowa can't score. I just love this one. I thought Iowa was actually going to win the game, or I thought it'd be 17-13. Really, it was 20-7 with 2 minutes left in the game. Iowa goes for it on 4th and 20 from their own 20. Obviously, they don't make it. Now, why doesn't Michigan take a knee? There's a minute and a half left. No, they run, and the guy breaks it and scores. Then Iowa all of a sudden has an offense, 5 passes, and they're there. Now, it didn't affect us, but it was misleading where this game was really 20-7. This was really low scoring. And, so that's 27-14. We're under 48. Iowa, total under team, great defense and no offense. Michigan, quarterback's not good. They run it okay. Their defense, okay. They have some holes in it. Ohio State's a much better team, but Michigan gets the win here. I'm not impressed with McCartney, the quarterback. He's, so they basically scored 20 points on Iowa with this quarterback. And most of it's running the ball anyway, so he just hands off. He's not winning you games. Just hope he doesn't lose you games. Texas Tech, K-State. Now, Texas Tech's more of an over team, so it's not A versus A. K-State, now you don't know the emotional impact of these teams. Texas Tech just beat Texas on a last-second field goal at home. K-State at home beats Oklahoma, so they come off emotional wins. How are they going to be? I circled the dog, but I didn't play it. Now the dog wins. They're laying 7.5. It's a 9-point win, 37-28. So Texas Tech and the 13 would have won. K-State does win and cover the -1. But it was, are they going to be flat? And that's where you kind of put your defenses up and say, well, wait a minute. These are coming off emotional wins. I can't touch it. It's not something that unlike I was praying Baltimore held the lead yesterday, and then Buffalo would be off of 2 losses, and they play. Let's see, do they play the perfect? Where is Buffalo? They got Pitt, so they would have destroyed Pitt, and off of 2 losses, that would have been either a lock. But they're laying 14. That's just way too much. I mean, they're not this explosive juggernaut every week. It happens once in a while where they get it going, but Josh Allen looked terrible yesterday. This is why I don't like Lamar Jackson. He blows the lead. He throws an interception late. What is Harbaugh think? Did you hear Harbaugh's excuse? I'm sorry to go off track. So it's 2020. They're at the 10-yard line. Kick the fucking field goal, take the lead, and anything can happen. I got to take the lead when I get it. He goes for it on 4th and 9. Jackson throws the interception, and his excuse was, well, based on algorithms or whatever the hell that name is that I always call algorithms, analytics. Well, based on analytics, they would have went for it on 4th down all the way down and drove, and it would have been hard to stop them on 4th down. Huh? Are you on drugs, Harbaugh? So instead, you have Lamar Jackson throw an interception, not get any points, not take the lead. And there's a whole big difference if I'm winning or if I'm losing or if I'm tied. If I'm tied, there's no pressure because if I don't do anything, we're tied, we'll go to overtime. If I'm down, I got pressure to perform. And that's a whole different thing. And that's where the analytics, first of all, you're throwing with Lamar Jackson in a goal line situation. He's going to complete it 1 out of 20 because he's not a quarterback. I guess I'm the only guy that can actually see that he can't read a defense and he can't read a blitz. So he throws the interception, and then Buffalo walks down and kicks a field goal and says, thank you very much. It was the worst coaching call I've ever seen. It's up there with San Diego going for it at their own 20 on 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. What the hell are these guys thinking? See, I don't get. They're not asking the question, does analytics work? They're going, well, according to analytics, we should go for it on 4th down. Well, are you looking into, does analytics actually work? No, it doesn't. But they're not looking at that. You've got to you kick a field goal from wherever, the 10-yard line. You take the lead. There's not a lot of time left. You make them go down and beat you. And more than likely, okay, maybe they'll tie you and kick a field goal. Instead, they lose. And then they'll have the ball at the 2-yard line if he doesn't throw the interception. Well, if that's your thinking, then why didn't Lamar Jackson just run the ball, run some sort of option and that read option where he pulls it out of the guy's stomach and he runs around? Why don't you do that? Why would you throw a pass with this guy who can't read a defense and he throws the interception? He's not clutch. We've seen that. Joe Montana throws a touchdown, but Bill Walsh is kicking a field goal. Parcells, all the good coaches kick a field goal there. So I don't get what the hell you're thinking. This guy should be fired. Absolutely horrible coach. And now you've lost again. And now you got Cincinnati. Now you're going to lose again. And if you keep making these idiotic decisions based on, again, I want to call it algorithms, analytics. If you keep doing analytics and you keep listening to that, you're going to be, you'll be on the street. Analytics doesn't work. It doesn't win in football. You can't go for it on fourth down all the time. And you got to kick your fucking field goals and not worry that if the team goes for it on fourth down, what the fuck? What is this? If they can't make it on 3 downs, what makes you think on 4th and 2 they're going to make it when they couldn't make it on the best ones when they're at the goal line? 1st and 2, nothing. 2nd and 2, nothing. 3rd and 2, nothing. But on 4th and 2, we'll score. What are you on, drugs? Bunch of idiots. Anyway, that's my point. So again, KC, Texas Tech, you didn't know the emotion into it. In that point, you kind of lean towards K-State because they're at home. Are going to be a little bit less flatter than Texas Tech. But what K-State does is runs the ball. All the other teams there pass the ball, except for Baylor and Oak State run the ball very well. So they are balanced. K-State is not balanced. They only run. So you can see, like K-State beat Oklahoma, Baylor and Oak State will kill Oklahoma, especially now with the injury, because they can run it also, but they can pass. And that's the key. All right, Kentucky, Mississippi, 2A teams, tease the dog, 22-19, Mississippi, another winner, another easy winner. Kentucky's going for the field goal, and they missed it at the end, or they tie it. But, Kentucky's very underrated. Here they're getting 7. Why are they getting 7? It's 22-19. And give Mississippi credit for holding them to 19, because I know Kentucky's pretty explosive. All right, Memphis, Temple. Temple's a very weak under team. Memphis is an over team. So as I was teaching, what do? Do you go over or under on the game? You don't know what to do with the game. And in this case, it stayed under. Temple has a good defense. Memphis, we know, scores. They lay in 19. They win by 21. Temple does nothing, but they don't give up a lot. So it's 24-3. So you learn, Temple's got a really good defense, no offense. They're an under team. You hope they play Iowa and Wisconsin. Purdue, Minnesota. Okay, this game's a fooler. But I think Abraham, the running back for Minnesota, didn't play. I didn't see him in the box score. So Minnie's an A team. Now, what happens? They just blow out Michigan State. Purdue, their quarterback came back, which I didn't know. He's listed as injured, but I look at the box score, O'Connell played. And Minnesota doesn't get any running. They're not balanced. Defensively, they show up as an A team, as they should. And Purdue gets the win, 20-10. And what do we learn? Well, Purdue, with the quarterback's not bad. Minnesota didn't have their running back, has a good defense. So Minnesota is pretty much an under team and an A team. So that's what you notice. But so Purdue on the road shows you something there. Minnesota, you can't start laying 30 with, but you can bet them under. Illinois, Wisconsin, another play, another under. Wisconsin, total under. Illinois is a great under this year. They run the ball and play good defense. Over under 43.5. I went under 50. I didn't lock it. I don't know why. And it was 34-10, 44 over under. They actually go over 43.5. But the teaser, again, saves us, which is why we bet teasers. The odds on us winning this game at 43.5, let's say 60-40. The odds on winning it at 49.5 move up to probably 90-10. Unless there's some turnovers, and pick sixes and fumble return. If the offensive half the drive, they'll never get to 50. So Illinois probably got some turnovers to get to 34. But again, it stays under. And that's, again, you have two under teams and they're not explosive. So it's a perfect under play. Georgia State, Army, very confusing. Army's laying 8, Georgia State 31-14. Both teams are over. The over-under was 54. I thought it would be an over game. I didn't play this game. Thought it would be an over game. It goes to 45, 31-14. Army, this is the problem. They don't score. Now, Georgia State's another good passing team along with Georgia Southern, and they play each other this week. This will be an interesting one. But Georgia State apparently has some defense because Army's pretty explosive, and they got 31 on Army, which is good because Army usually has a good defense. So it's a good win on the road for Georgia State. Army's just playing a tough schedule, UTSA, Coastal Carolina. It says I haven't bet Army all year yet. I'll wait for the Navy game, I guess, or the Air Force game. Louisville, BC. Louisville laying 13. BC is a weak team with no offense, scores 34. I didn't play the game. I liked Louisville, didn't play it. Don't trust Louisville on the road, even though BC is terrible, but somehow BC wins 34-33. Jurnovic, the quarterback from Notre Dame, has been non-existent, played a good game. So, all right, are they turning the corner? So this is, don't get fooled by one game. So let's see what happens. James Madison, Texas State. I stayed away from this game, but I like James Madison. They're an A team. They just beat App State. I was concerned to be flat. They weren't flat at all. 40-13 over Texas State, who's an E team. They score in the mid-20s. They give up in the mid-20s. This is why I class each team. Because if you just look at James Madison, Texas State, you don't know if Texas State's good, bad, high scoring, low scoring. You don't know anything about Texas State. Nobody does unless you live in Texas, near Texas State. Like I'm in Michigan, so I know Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. But who the hell knows Texas State? So you wouldn't know what to do with it. Now you look at the spread. James Madison's 21.5, and they cover. They win by 27. Over under a 51. They just make it, so you could have teased the over. But again, not knowing James Madison's first year. Now they beat App State. They're a strong team. I looked at their quarterback. He's like 15 touchdowns and no interceptions. He's a very good quarterback. Texas State's kind of weak. And you can see by the spread, when you see 21, obviously they're weak, but will they be flat beating App State? That was the question. Apparently not. Good coach team. Utah, Oregon State. Now, Chase Nolan, I think he played a little bit. I don't know if he got hurt, threw 2 interceptions, or he got pulled. But basically, he wasn't in there the whole game. So now I don't know if he got hurt. I checked the injuries. I didn't see him, but maybe he'll show up tomorrow. Otherwise, he just played a bad game. Utah 42-16. They kill him. I thought Utah would win. I didn't play it. I thought it would go over, but it was really hard when Oregon State holds USC to 17 points. It's hard to play that team over. So I didn't play the game. I thought if Utah was a little less, but Oregon State looked so good against SC, you just got – now, again, that was an emotional game, and they were flat, and the quarterbacks didn't show up. They threw like 5 interceptions. So – anyway, you got a 58 there, and looking at that, excuse me, Utah looks strong. They're the best, and there's a good game this week. Utah, UCLA, very good game. This will be for the Pac-10. They're the best 2 teams. They should be in the playoff, both of them, and this is what I hate about the playoff. Utah's a playoff team. All right, they lost by Florida. Who cares? If they beat UCLA and they beat Utah and they beat Oregon State, who's a good team, and I don't know if they're going to play. They're in the South, so I don't know if they play Washington State, Oregon. I mean, they got to play one of them. I think they played 2 or 3 crossovers. But Utah can beat anybody. They give Georgia and Alabama a game, so they got a good quarterback with Rising. And so right now we're betting the quarterback. That's what's confusing with Oregon State. Chase Nolan got hurt. Apparently, I don't know. Either got hurt or pulled. Same thing with Van Dyke. Van Dyke's been throwing not a lot of interceptions, but I looked at the stats. He's 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. Last year he probably had 25 in 3 or 4 games. So the new coach in Miami's fucking up Van Dyke. I don't know what's going on in Oregon State, but Rising's good, and then Hartman's good at Wake. So we've got our quarterbacks. Eastern Michigan, 20 over UMass. UMass is a Z. Eastern's an over. Both teams have terrible defenses. This game I didn't play. I thought about it. I just let it go. 20-13 Eastern Michigan. I can't figure that out. I assume a lot of turnovers, but Mass is so bad. I don't know, how they scored 13 and how they held Eastern to 20. So now I got to think Eastern's pretty bad. Northern Illinois, Ball State. I don't play it. Northern Illinois over team. Ball State's a W, which means they're not too bad. They score 20, give up 30 or something like that. So both teams have over defenses. So this was more of an over game. And 44-38, Ball State gets the upset. So here's where Ball State playing. I think they played Tennessee and got killed. Here's where that enters into it, right? They're not scared of Northern Illinois in their home, but they're skewed because it looks like they give up a lot more points, which they do. They give up 38, but then they play a game where they probably scored 7 against Tennessee. We're now in MAC. They're much better offense. That's why I say I warn you, the MACs, the Sun Belts, the Conference USAs in conference is a whole different animal than when they're playing Auburn and Georgia and Florida and, Michigan, Ohio State. You got to kind of throw that game out and look at them in conference. And that's kind of where it comes. So now Ball State 44, they can score. So now you're looking in the home MAC, the defense. It's funny how one conference, every defense sucks. And then you look at another conference, which I can't think of, I think Mountain West, every offense sucks. I mean, there's 5 unders in Mountain West. So it's just funny the way these conferences, they'll all be the same. It's amazing. Fresno State, this is a loser, giving up 23, loses to Connecticut, 19-14. The new quarterback. So we know Hayner's out, and the new quarterback comes in. He's like 9-10 against SC. Oh, okay. There must have been a lot of rain. He throws 2 interceptions. They get 14 points on Connecticut. Are you shitting me? So we got to bet against Fresno for now. Hayner's gone for the year with a broken ankle. So that was just betting against the Z, figuring Hayner wouldn't be too bad. So lesson learned. Mike Kent, Clark Kent beats Ohio, goes to overtime. Lane 5, they win 31-24 in overtime. They scored late to tie it and then win in overtime. A 55, which was, I thought it was over 65. They didn't get there, but I only played Kent. And I had him Kent -17 or -11. Ohio was an over team, so I'm surprised 2 counts that this was an over versus over, and it didn't get to the 65. And Kent and Clinton, it was basically 24-24. So I was really surprised. Kent, again, they just played Georgia and they played Washington and Oklahoma. They played 3 pretty tough teams, way over their heads, and they held their own. Maybe they were a little flat because they just played Georgia, and I'm sure they got jacked up for them, and they played well against Georgia. They scored 22 on Georgia and 24 in Ohio. Something doesn't add up. So I know they had some fumble problems because they got really good balance. They got a really good runner. And I'm looking, fumble. They had 3 fumbles. He had a 40-yard run, fumble. It was unbelievable. The guy came through at the end and got the touchdown for us to cover. But they've got good balance, but it's just one of those games, 3 fumbles. It's like, what the hell? Miami of Ohio, Buffalo lane 2 wins 24-20. Miami of Ohio, their quarterback Gabbert's out for the year, and or at least he's out for a while. And then Buffalo has been scoring. So I was a little surprised by this game, 24-20. Didn't play it. I circled Buffalo just because Miami of Ohio's quarterback's out, but 24-20. So Miami of Ohio I have as an under team, decent defense. Buffalo's an over team. But again, the under team will stop the over team, and that's what's happening. Penn State, Northwestern, Penn State lane 25. What the hell happened here? 17-7. Can somebody explain this? How does Penn State only score 17? Now, there was rain from the hurricane up in Pitt and Penn State and Maryland and those, so it had passed through because I saw the Florida State game. It was dry. Tampa game, KC was dry. So I didn't see a lot of rain. I saw a lot of rain here, not down south. So 17-7, I don't even know how to respond to that. Didn't play the game because I didn't like the 25, and I was a little bit worried about the weather, but I don't like laying 25 here too much. My Kansas. We're undefeated with Kansas so far. I have Kansas -7. That should have been the line. Iowa State was a 3.5-point favorite. I got Kansas a 9.5. Kansas wins. They scored 14 in the second quarter, and that was it. And it's 14-0. Iowa State gets touchdown with a 2-pointer and a field goal, and I think they miss a field goal near the end. And Kansas wins 14-11. We're getting 9.5. Not that surprised they only scored 14 because Iowa State's got a really good defense. And so I knew Iowa State has no offense. And this is what I was talking about with a weak favorite. Iowa State isn't going to beat you by a lot. I mean, they beat Ohio, but not, this is different. But Kansas can score enough where Iowa State's got to blow them out. And if Kansas probably needed a touchdown more, they would have done it. But again, playing with the lead, Baltimore, Mr. Harbaugh, is a whole different thing. And trying to look at Iowa State tried, they missed the field goal. Maybe Buffalo misses the field goal if they need it and the pressure's on them to tie it, versus there's no pressure. If you miss it, we go to overtime. You always kick that field goal. What a freaking moron. Anyway, so I know Iowa State's not going to kill them. They're not going to, maybe they'll win by a field goal. We got 9.5. It was a joke. And why that wasn't my lock instead of Wake Forest, I have no idea. I mean, sometimes you feel something. Like I knew to take Kansas. It's like I knew to take Kentucky and Oak State. Again, tease the dog, and we had a weak favorite here. Baylor was not a weak favorite, but this Iowa State, they don't score. And you got an explosive Kansas team, you take them. So, again, Kansas, this week's going to be a tough one. They've got a good name that I'm a little afraid of. I think they play whatchamacallit. They play TCU, and TCU's laying 6.5. I am scared shitless. Now you got an extremely strong team against Kansas. I don't know that I'm running on Kansas, but it might be a good over because TCU, the quarterback can run. Good quarterback. I mean, they lit up Oklahoma. This is probably a good over game, Kansas with TCU. But the difference is I'm not jumping on Kansas in 13 because of their defense. It's different against Duke and Iowa State, but not here. So, again, you got to know who you're playing. But TCU, I am not going to start betting against that team. That team is loaded, good quarterback, and they score. So you really don't want to bet against a team like that too often unless you have a team. Kansas, good offense, but not a great defense. TCU will light them up. Question is how much can Kansas light back? So we'll see. CMU, Toledo. Toledo had lost to San Diego State, as I said. They came back pissed off. I circled the over. I didn't play it because Central is an over team. They score a lot. 38-17. So Toledo looks very strong at home in the MAC. keeping Central to 17. Now I'm scratching my head with Central. They put up 44 in Oak State. Baylor wished they could do that. And then they're putting up 17. So I thought CMU's this really explosive offense, and yet 38-17. Toledo is not an A team, but it's skewed because of the 77-21 game against Ohio State. That makes them look like an over defense, but in conference, you take that away, I bet you they're probably giving up 20 points a game. So that's where you get the skew on that Division II or the Ohio State and the Alabama games, when they go out of conference. But Toledo is a very good team. They were an A team, so they're still a strong team. Alabama, Arkansas. I took Arkansas on 23.5 just because I don't normally bet against Alabama, and it was very small. And Arkansas covers by the skin of their teeth. I had the over circled at 61, which easily won, but it got close. It was 28-23. I go, here we go. It's fourth quarter. Okay. And then Alabama, I've never seen a team like this where they just hand it off and there's nobody around. The guy goes 60 yards untouched, and the quarterback does a run and it's 60 yards. They have so many big plays. It just blows my, because all the other teams grind it down the field and get a first down. They're just happy to get first downs. And Alabama makes these 60-yard runs, and the guy doesn't even get touched, and the defense is like standing in cement. I mean, it's just amazing. Arkansas, I don't know. Their defense, they're spying the quarterback. The quarterback doesn't even play Alabama's. He gets hurt. I think he started and got hurt, and the backup came in, and he's just some fast guy. And I don't know. They just light you up, but Arkansas came through for me. I think I like them this week. It's a little different type of game. But that's why you get scared. That's why you try not to bet against Alabama too much. And they're a very good over team most of the time because they score real fast and they get all the defensive touchdowns. SMU UCF got postponed. So in my teaser, I had Cincinnati over with this over in this game. So I didn't know what to do because the bet was already made Thursday. It gets canceled. I couldn't change it, but I deleted it, even though we won the Cincinnati. You can't really do a one-team teaser, so it's just a refund. So I just deleted it. Ohio State, Rutgers, laying 40, win by 39, 49-10 against Rutgers. That's about what I think. Ohio State's rolling. They hit the number of the over 59. But again, Rutgers doesn't score much, has a pretty good defense. Hard to go over in a Rutgers game. Bowling Green, Akron. Another surprising. Bowling Green, laying the 9, wins by 3. Akron's a Z team, and yet Bowling Green I have is weak. So I don't know if their quarterback got hurt or what. But again, the Z teams weren't as bad as normal, but they weren't playing really strong offenses. Connecticut winning, it must have been the weather. Akron puts up 28 on Bowling Green. Now, Bowling Green's an over team. This could have been played over. The over-under, I believe I got 50 here, and they scored 59, but you can't trust Akron to score. They're a Z team, and that's the problem with them. So maybe they're getting better or Bowling Green's getting worse. Hard to say. Michigan State, Maryland 27-13, laying 7.5. Again, you watch Michigan State get killed by Minnesota, so they're kind of a weak team this year. Mary is okay. 27-13 is about right. I really had no opinion on the game. I don't know how good Michigan State is or isn't, and I don't know how good Maryland is. So can't really do much with them. Florida Atlantic, North Texas, over versus over. Over under a 68, so I don't go over in the game. I circle it, but I don't play it. And they score 73, 45-28. Does go over, which is my whole premise. The over versus over teams, they should score a lot of points, and here they do. So if you know nothing, if you just knew they were over teams, and you see the over under a 68, you go over, and they get 73 for you. A&M, Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State goes off. Lane 4. A&M, I figure, is flat after the Arkansas game. They don't show me anything, just the runner, and Mississippi State lights them up, which was shocking. Mississippi State's a pretty good team this year. A&M's just an under, no quarterback. So in a situation where they do get down and the quarterback has to throw, they're screwed. And defensively, they give up 42 to Mississippi State. So I stayed away from the game, and I was very surprised Mississippi State scored 42 on them when Miami and Arkansas couldn't get there. But Mike Leach figures out, throwing it all over the field, which does hurt a good defense like A&M. If you throw it all over the field, it takes their advantage away because now it's a speed game and they're not as necessarily speed. Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina. I go over with this game. I thought about it and I took it over, and we got there near the end. It was like 64, went up to like 66. So I need a 60. It doesn't look like we're going to get there. And then at the end, they scored a couple of touchdowns. And Coastal Carolina wins 34-30. Again, we were questioning Georgia Southern. Are they really? They beat Nebraska, but then they struggled and beat like Middle Tennessee. Are they really that good? And then, yes, they are. 34-30 against a good Coastal Carolina team. McCall plays good, 34-30. I was afraid to take Georgia Southern in the 15, but that came in. But I did play the over. It's probably 60, somewhere about 60. Anyway, it went to 64, so I got the win. I thought I'd lost that game. Southern Alabama, Lou Lafayette. I took Southern Alabama -2. They win 20-17. They're a very good team. They went out to UCLA and almost beat them. UCLA needed a last-second kick. And South Alabama, like I said, is a very good team. But the line I thought was low. Lou Lafayette lost to Lou Monroe. So, again, they're at home in South Alabama. They get the 20-17, laying the 2. So, got the W there. Washington State, Cal. Washington State's lane 4. I like Washington State. I don't think I played the game, but I picked it. I'll pick a lot, and then it's which ones do I play. But Washington State, I just like the way their defense is. Now, this should have been an under, should have been a lock under like it was a couple weeks ago. But because Cal's an under and Washington State's an under, but Cal puts up 40, 50 points on Arizona or something. And Washington State puts up a lot of points. I'm going, oh, well, maybe they're against Oregon. Yeah, and I just lost the lock Oregon under, and Oregon looks like a real high-scoring team now. So it kind of got me away from, well, wait a minute, is Washington State explosive or not? But Washington State, and this is exactly 2 weeks ago what I would have thought. This would have been a lock under, 2 under teams. 28-9, Washington State. They look very good. Very strong defensive team. All right, UTEP, Charlotte. I like Charlotte because they were the dog, and Reynolds is playing. They lose 41-35. UTEP scores. Charlotte's a terrible defensive team. They both are over defenses. 41-35, 78. The over-under is like 50. I have Utah as a weak offensive team, so where they got 41 from, I don't know. But Reynolds played well, and they're an over team, and that's exactly what they did. Liberty, Old D. Liberty, they're on their third quarterback. Old D's just they don't score a lot. Liberty was favored. Had Old D been favored, I might have taken Liberty, but again, I don't know. I'm watching Liberty's quarterbacks get injured, so I can't really play them. Over-under was 45. Oh, Vegas always knows the number. Yeah, right. 38-24. They play a 72, and the over-under is 45. So got to check more into the box score in this one, but I was impressed that Liberty got 38 against this defense. Old D's an under team, but I didn't see that. Troy, Western Kentucky. I stayed away from this. I was scared of Troy playing App State good. Western Kentucky blew out somebody 73-0. Troy, they both have under defenses, which got me off the over, which got me off Western Kentucky because I don't want to fuck with a good defense with my offense. And that's exactly what happened. Troy wins 34-27, which was a little surprising they won, but more surprising was 71 points, 34-27. So now we got to take another look at Troy. They beat a very good offensive team. They hold them to 27, and they scored 34, but against Western Kentucky. So that's why you got to know the team. Offense, defense, you got to know how strong they are. And it kept me going. I didn't play Western Kentucky because of Troy's defense. And with Troy almost beating App State, it took a Hail Mary to beat them. It was really hard to take Western Kentucky here. And then it's just a matter of getting comfortable taking Troy. Is Troy going to be good? They look good. They're also Alabama. All these guys get the rejects who went to Alabama. Arkansas State, Lou Monroe. This game I loved. I took Arkansas State down to 1.5. Lou Monroe's a Z team. Arkansas State's explosive. This is exactly what I want. They win 45-28, and I'm laying 1. How I didn't lock this game instead of fucking Wake Forest, I don't know. That's what's frustrating. You lock the games. I'm 6-1 on the locks this week, and I get to Wake Forest, and it loses, and it costs me like five. It cost me a 10-team teaser with Alex, a 5-team teaser with G. We got everything else. I mean, with Alex, I got 9 winners and fucking Wake Forest, and I said, why didn't I think I even played Ark State in the 10-team teaser, but it was. I mean, you got to go with the offensive team against the Z team laying 1. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So that's exactly what we're looking for, and got the win. Cincinnati, Tulsa. Cincinnati, a very strong A team, laying 9. Tulsa's an over team. Cincinnati with the strong defense held them down, 31-21. Cincinnati, again, you could have. The over went down from 60 to 57. Then you win at 51. You lose at the 54. So it's a 52. It's hard to play Cincinnati over. You're looking so against an over team like Tulsa, it really nullifies playing the game under, and then they win 31-21. So they just have a very good defense, usually a pretty good under. Bennett's playing well at quarterback. So Cincinnati, very strong team again. And they will shut down the over team. So you got to watch it like that. East Coast, South Florida, another winner. I'm pulling these out of my butt. Arkansas State, East Carolina, Georgia Southern. It's unbelievable. Georgia Southern laying 9.5. I lay 3.5, maybe 3, and they win 48-28. South Florida is a terrible team. I hate their coach. He's got his son playing. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no nepotism there. The son's obviously really good. 48-28. East Car was off of a loss. They're a very good team. They're the ones that always beat like North Carolina State, because they're in North Carolina, but at South Florida, and they win by 20. And that was probably the easiest pick. Had it been a 7, that would have been a lockdown to 1, because they're a good team. They're trying to run more, but they got a good quarterback. LSU, Auburn. I have no idea who LSU is with Kelly. I don't know. His quarterback is from Arizona State. He just wants to run. You're not using Bote. I don't know what to do. Auburn's lost their first 2 quarterbacks. So Auburn's basically an under team. LSU, I don't know. I have them as an A team statistically, but they're not. They're not in Alabama Georgia's class. That's for sure. So I circled the under. I didn't play it because I don't know LSU. Over under was 45. That would have won. It was 21-17. So that's what you get. Very low scoring game. And that's what Auburn is. Very low scoring because the quarterbacks are all hurt. Indiana, Nebraska. I liked the game over. I didn't play it. I liked Indiana. I didn't play the game. But that's who I circled the over, because Nebraska's an over team, and they give up. When you give them up 48 to Georgia Southern, you against Indy, who's Indy? Are they? I got them as an even team with an over defense. So basically, this is 2 overs going at it. Nebraska wins 35-21. They held them to only 21, so it's a 56. And that's about right. And the over/under was 60, so you would have just won 64. Maybe it was 65. They scored 60. They scored 56. So if it was 61, it was 56. It was a push. But Nebraska at 35. So it's funny how Georgia Southern puts 48 up on them and Indy gets 21. Indy's not that good of a team, so mark that down. When you can only score 21 on Nebraska and everybody else is putting up 40s, there's a problem. Wyoming and San Jose State. This was a bit of a surprise. San Jose State minus 2.5. I picked Wyoming. I didn't play it. San Jose State all of a sudden is coming to life, 33-16 against Wyoming. Wyoming is not a strong defense this year. I've got them as an over. I got them as a W team. And this is the beauty of my system. So you're looking at, it's not Wyoming, it's a W team. And that's the whole key to picking, because you fall in love. Like, I love Miami over last year. I'm not playing them this year. I haven't played them over. I think I played them over once and got lucky, got the win. And I had them against A&M, which we won. And then I laid away against whoever, Southern Miss, and Southern Miss killed them. Van Dyke's throwing these turnovers. And then so you gotta read what's going on, and I'm off Miami over, which is going to be unusual to watch. They play North Carolina, who has no defense. Miami should score. North Carolina is going to put up a boatload. So this will be an interesting. This normally would have been a lock over Miami, North Carolina. That's exactly what I wait for. And I don't know if I can play it. I don't know that I can trust. If I look at the over/under on this game, Miami, where are you boys? Miami. Come on. I just saw it. I just noted it when I was writing the games down. Here it is. Miami is a 4-point favorite. Over/under is 65. This would have taken me 3 seconds to lock last year. You've got an over team in North Carolina who scores 1,000 points a game and gives up 1,000 against Miami with an idiot coach. So I don't know what you do with this coach. I don't know. You can't lay 4. How are you gonna? You can't trust this team. They're losing to Memphis or Southern Miss. Van Dyke, he's totally killed Van Dyke. 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Van Dyke's so much better than this. What is he doing? Oh, I want to run the ball. No, you've got Joe Montana. You don't fucking run the ball. What are you, insane? So my hands are tied in this game. This should be an easy lock over 59. 2 explosive teams. North Carolina, very explosive, good quarterback, as is Miami. So I do not know what this idiot's done. So you're killing me taking a lock off the board because you want to coach. You don't understand you've got Van Dyke. So that's the problem with it. Anyway, so that was it. So San Jose State scoring. Okay. I don't know how that turned into Miami, but UAB Rice. This is a very strong. I didn't play UAB, but I picked them. It was 10, and Rice is an over team. I thought this would be a little bit more, and Rice gets the win 28-24. And they had just gotten killed by somebody, or they played Houston and they put up a lot of points, but they gave up a lot. So now I'm scratching my head. UAB loses to Rice 28-24. They don't score on Rice. Rice gets 28, which is they're pretty explosive. So now lesson learned there. Rice is not a bad team. If you can beat UAB, it goes a long way in your psyche going, hey, we beat UAB, who is an A team. So keep your eye open for Rice against the Z team or W team. They will score. They are very strong offensively. And 28 on UAB is a good score. Duke and Virginia. Duke kills them 38-17. Duke's a pretty good team. They played Kansas kind of close, which you're laughing, so am I, from last year. But this Kansas team, I think, was good. They're both under defenses. So Duke's a pretty good. They're a strong B team. Good offense, good defense. I have the under mark, 53.5. I don't play it, and it's 55. So the game does stay under 59. Duke laying 2. They win 38-17. Virginia just doesn't have an offense, and they play under games. So, again, Virginia, you're looking for under. Duke, nice team. I can't take them against Clemson, but maybe Miami. They do play North Carolina at the end of the year. That's the rivalry. That's the Michigan-Ohio State is North Carolina-Duke. I had a teacher in high school, and I've been betting, I think in sixth grade, I was betting quarters with this guy. Now, keep in mind, I'm older, so this is like in the 1969, 1970. And I go like 11-1, and we're betting quarters, and the guy freaked out. So anyway, a teacher hears this. She knows I bet, and she was from North Carolina, and she says, no, the North Carolina Duke, that's the rivalry. That's like Michigan, Ohio State, because you don't know if it's North Carolina State, or Wake Forest. They're all pretty close, but North Carolina Duke is the rivalry there. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But Duke looks pretty good, beating 38 on Virginia. They got a kind of a running passing quarterback, so he looks okay. Georgia, Missouri. What is happening to my Georgia defense? However, this was lock number 4, and it wins fairly easily. Georgia pulls it 26-22, a 48. Over-under is 54. We're going under 60. Never really in doubt. Georgia scores late to get the 26-22. Now, what do we notice? This is the second game in a row. You're giving up 22 to Kent and 22 to Missouri. Missouri's not really a high scoring. I locked this game because I thought Missouri defensively was good, which they were. They held Georgia to 26. Georgia's getting a lot of injuries, and some guy got arrested before the game on Georgia, probably one of their starters. So Missouri, who's an E team, so they score 25, give up 25, puts up a 22 on Georgia, but Georgia's not scoring, which is fine. But Georgia's defense, they'll hold you, right? Even though they got 22, it should have been more. And then when they need it, they turn it on. They are so fast to the two things that impress me about Georgia. They're so fast to the quarterback. He rolls. He takes the snap. He runs back to get into the pocket. They're already on him. And then when they do these little swing passes and screens, Georgia's defenses, the cornerbacks and linebackers just blow it up. Like everybody else, they're watching it. They just come right in and they go right after the guy and tackle him for losses. It is so hard to move on Georgia. So I am just shocked they're giving up 22 to Missouri. Kent, I kind of didn't expect 22, but Kent's a good offensive team. I did expect maybe 10, but not 22 from Missouri. You got to be kidding. Missouri's not that strong of a team. So we got to, look at what's going on with Georgia. They get Auburn this week. I would believe this should be the shutout that they've been looking for, but we will. If Auburn puts up 22, I'll be shocked because they couldn't put up 22 on anybody. So Georgia, again, we're noticing the 22s. But we're noticing the 26. See, they're not Alabama. They don't score the 50, 60 points Alabama does. They'll just kill you defensively. And, they'll win 35-10, 35-0. And, so they're a little weaker than last year, but they're still, they give up 10 a game instead of 7. So Georgia under still the play. And again, this is how we analyze. So instead of taking minus 24 to 18 going out of Georgia, the better play with Georgia's under. They don't blow you out, but they don't let you score. So instead of losing with minus 18, we win with under 60. That's how you have to think. It's what's the best play for the game. We locked Georgia under. I don't think I've ever. A couple of weeks ago, I took Georgia against. I don't know. It was some weak team, and they beat them by 40 points. And I think we laid 28 instead of under, and we got that win. But normally, I'm betting them under. You can't bet a team like this over, and depending on the spread. Now, if they were 7 to Kentucky, I would lock it -1 all day. But you're never getting them there. Here, it's 22. So you got to be very careful with them. But it's normally an under, especially. I'll say it for the 100th time. Why is the over/under 54 before the teaser in a Georgia game? I mean, you've got to be out of your mind. And then, so again, it's a 48. Again, they're giving up 10 a game. And again, let's look at next week. They play Auburn, and they're laying 29, over/under of 50. Auburn can't score. They have a very good defense. It's an under. Why is it 50? I mean, are you now bet it now, but I mean, bet it as soon as possible. I've already bet it. You got to just understand that this will end up at 45. And in 2 of my tickets with my friends, we pushed on the Jacksonville Philadelphia lock. I locked it at 47. I'm under 53. I win. But by kickoff, and they bet it late, it was 44. We were under 50. Now, in a teaser, if you tie, it's a push. You do not lose. Some teasers, you win on a tie in Vegas. There's teaser cards that ties win. Most of the time, it's a push because you didn't lose. And that's how all the bet. Well, normally, if you lay 3 and they win by 3, it's a push. So in that case, I had 2 pushes yesterday because the late betting, they didn't get it into 44. They went under 50. What can I do? It's the lock. I'm taking Jacksonville 53. So that was, so I went at betting it early. That's why I tell you to bet it early, especially these over-unders. This will end 45. Once you look at it and you realize Auburn's defense, this will be way lower soon. Anyway, but then you see it's an under. I'm not laying 29 against. Why should I lay 29 and worry that they're going to put up a 30 versus it's going to be 37-0, and I can go under 56 all day. Thank you. Florida International, New Mexico State. I couldn't understand this line for the life of me. Z versus Z, not A versus A. So with Z versus Z, how is New Mexico State as a Z a 14-point favorite over anybody? They're a Z team. Florida International sees it, gets mad. They're a Z team. They win 21-7. That's so how do you ever bet a Z team as a favorite? You can't. And here's a perfect example, laying 14. Now, I didn't touch the game. I can't bet on a Z team. I can bet against a Z team, but I'm not here. You can never take New Mexico State as a Z team laying 14. So, I couldn't play the game, but Florida International wins 21-7, proving New Mexico State's a Z team. Colorado, Arizona. This is a perfect spot. Arizona an over team, Colorado a Z team. Terrible defense. Arizona's going to light it up, and the defense really can't do anything. That's the point of the bet. And I do play this one, -17 down to -11, and they win 43-20. That was an easy one. They're not going to stop Arizona because they don't have a good defense, and Arizona's got a good quarterback. Throw some interceptions against better teams, but against a weak team, he's going to say, this is nice. I got time to throw. I got wide open receivers, and they kill them. This should have been a lock. I apologize. I didn't lock this one, but this is a very easy one. USC 25 over Arizona State. I have no idea what to do with this one. I leave it alone. I circled over, picking an over-under on the game, thinking USC scores, has kind of a weaker defense. But Arizona State's an under team. So what am I supposed to do? They got a new coach. What am I supposed to do? So I watch. I don't play it. USC 42. Arizona State 25. Now, Arizona State, I don't get excited with their offense because USC doesn't have a great defense. So I go, oh, okay. It's just a weak USC defense. USC does what they are going to do offensively, which makes that Oregon State game even more unbelievable. 17-14 USC, and they score 40 in every other game. How good is this Oregon State defense? So, again, but their quarterback didn't play, through some interceptions. That's what happened. That's how you get these overs, are the turnovers and where they are on the field. So I don't play. I watch. I learn. USC's they're high scoring, no defense. And our last lock of the day, Oregon 17-63 against Stanford. Oregon, I'm watching them light up Washington State, and I'm going, Jesus Christ. Georgia shuts them out 49-3. Then they start scoring. They play a Division II team. Then they score on Washington State, 40 points. Now they get Stanford at home. They're a little bit weak. They're an over team. They can score a little, but they have a terrible defense. Oregon is also an over team, but part of it's skewed, but maybe not. Part of it's skewed by Georgia 49-3 and how much was Georgia's offense. But then you get the 40 points scored by Washington State, and you realize Oregon's defense isn't that good, but they can – now with Bo Nix, they're lighting it up. So now I go, okay, I play the lock. I'm worried it's 31-3, and it's 24-3 with 2 seconds left, and Oregon scores with 1 second left before the half. It's 31-3, and I'm going, that touchdown's big. I think that'll help me. And I'm like, but Stanford's not scoring. What the fuck? They got 3 points. I figured them for 17. I figured it'd be 45-17, which is a 62, which gets me over. That's how I locked it. Because Oregon doesn't have a great defense, but I figured Oregon will just light it up. Anyway, I go to bed at 1:30 in the morning because it's the late game, and it's 38-17. It's 55. All I need, and I think I'm at 57 or 58, and I'm thinking, okay, I just need a field goal, and I got to win. It's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. I don't want to go to sleep, but it's 2 in the morning. I go to sleep. I wake up 45-27. I look right as soon as I went to sleep, maybe 5 minutes later at the end of the quarter, they scored a touchdown that put the over, and then Stanford scored late. Of course, when you don't need it, where was that in the Florida State game, right? We needed the touchdown in the Florida State game. We don't get it here. We don't need the touchdown, and Stanford scores, makes it a 72 over under a 63. So that was the lock. So if we look at the plays, we lose BYU. I'll just go through my plays. We lose BYU. We win UCLA as a lock. We win Oak State. We lose the lock in Wake Forest over. We hit TCU. We hit Iowa under, second lock. We hit Kentucky. We hit Wisconsin under. We lose Fresno State. We hit Kent. We hit Kansas. We hit Arkansas. The SMU over gets canceled, probably because of the hurricane. We hit the Georgia Southern over. We hit South Alabama. We hit Arkansas State. We hit East Carolina. We hit the Georgia-Missouri under lock. We hit Arizona. We hit the Oregon lock. So what is that? 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, 7-2, 8-2, 9-2, 10-2, 11-2, 12-2. No, 12-2, 13-2, 14-2, 15-2, 16-2, 17-2, 5. And the puzzling part is, of course, one of them's the lock, which cost me on tickets because I put all my locks in one teaser. I had 6 locks. So on the locks, again, UCLA, we lose Wake Forest. We win Iowa under. We win Georgia under. We win Oregon over. 5 locks, 4-1. In the pros, 3 locks. One's tonight. 2 locks win. Jacksonville under 53 and Dallas under 48. Why, so Dallas is beautiful lock. Dallas is just lock under happy. It's just what they do. So 17-2 and 4-1 on the locks. I played a college pro lock. My college pro lock was Oregon with Jacksonville under, so that one. I put it as pro college, so like G buys the college, she got the lock because I have it switched to pro and college. So if you buy pro or college, because I felt bad. It's like, how do I get pro better buyers and college buyers. So how do I tell both of them? And I don't want to put it twice because I don't want people like Nick to bet it twice. I mean, that's up to him if he does, but I don't want to show two plays in there and then people will bet it twice. So now it's still one play, but now everybody can read it. So 17-2, another fabulous week. Looking up for week 6, I've already got penciled in my games, my teams, my lines. Interesting games. I won't spend a lot of time on it. San Jose State 6 over Vegas. Vegas is a strong team. San Jose State's playing better. Over under a 50. We'll see. SMU UCF. Over under a 64. NC State, Florida State. NC State laying 3.5 off of a loss against Clemson. Clemson 20 over BC. Clemson's playing much stronger. Did BC? They're an under team. Was it a fluke or did they figure out their offense? Good game. TCU, Kansas. I'm scared out of my mind with Kansas and 12.5, 13. Over under a 67. It's a little bit high. But I think the way these teams play, I think it's an over 67-61. Get it before it hits 72. It's not hard to read where it's going. You can see, but the way I do it, right? TCU scores a bunch. Kansas, we know, scores a bunch. And so what we look at, and it's funny, is they're both kind of under defense. So they both have decent defenses. But if we look at TCU against Oklahoma, 55-24, they play a 79 with Oklahoma, and they keep them to 24, which is the concern. They score 55 on them, so they're going to put up a big number on Kansas. Kansas scores a lot also. So, again, I don't know, but I don't see how I can take Kansas and 12.5 off a team that just put up a 55 on Oklahoma. This is where you got to watch the game. And I'll get to the highlights. Did they get pick sixes? Did they run punts back? Or did that offense – see, normally the offense didn't drive 7 times for 7 touchdowns. Normally, fumbles and pick sixes give you the easy scores. Then do you get them every game? That's really the question. So it's going to be hard taking Kansas, but I could take it over. Texas, Oklahoma, quarterback's out for Oklahoma. This will be interesting. Texas. Now, this is normally an overlock, but I don't know what Oklahoma is going to do without their quarterback. Texas is going to run the ball. I'm not sure it goes over. We'll have to see. Michigan, Indiana. Michigan should probably kill them. Missouri, Florida. Over under a 54.5. Missouri just showed you they put up 22 on Georgia. Now, Missouri was very fired up for this game. They will probably be flat against Florida, maybe. But will the game be an under or not? They got a very good defense. This will be curious. Tennessee goes to LSU. I got LSU -7 because I want to play Tennessee as the dog. Tennessee's 3-point favorites. Here's where it gets frustrating betting as a bettor. I got the wrong team favorite. I want to take Tennessee in 9. I can't. Now it's, do I take LSU in 9? I don't know. I think this line goes down to even. Over under is 62. I don't know what to do. Tennessee's a very explosive team, but LSU's got a good defense, so that kind of neutralizes it. So this is the wrong team favored. So I don't know what to do with it. I can't take Tennessee minus LSU. That's not happening. So I got to check what's going on there. But LSU's a home dog. I don't know. It's be a tough game. Ark, Mississippi State. Mississippi State just murdered Texas A&M. Arkansas plays Alabama, puts up points. Mississippi State lights up A&M. I think this is an over game all the way, 62. I think Arkansas can score, but on Mississippi State, I mean, if you score that on A&M, you'll score it on Arkansas. Arkansas, I still like. Maybe it's a dog. I don't know. We'll have to see if I take Arkansas 12.5 or I go over on the game. Georgia Southern and Georgia State. I got Georgia Southern minus 10. The spread's Georgia State minus 2.5. This makes up for the Tennessee one. So Georgia State's been scoring a lot. Georgia Southern, we know, with the Nebraska game, and then last week, Coastal Carolina. I think Georgia Southern can be a dog here and can go over here. I think Georgia State scores a lot. South Florida, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to kill them. Texas Tech, Oak State. Very interesting game. Oak State lane 10, over under 64. They just beat Baylor at Baylor. Are they flat? It's a big emotional win for them. This is what you have to check in with. Texas Tech beat Texas at home. I don't see Oak State losing. I think that's the difference in football. They have all week to prepare for it. So it's not like, baseball where they play a game a day and they can't get up. Here, Oak State can focus going, okay, we need to win because they want to get to the playoff. They want to do everything. So Oak State still needs to win. Their goal is the conference. They know Texas Tech's a good team. Oak State's balanced with a good defense, and Texas Tech's an over. So should be a lot of points. Well, maybe not. Oak State could beat them. Oak State's probably the bet here, but we'll have to look at the injuries. Wisconsin 10, Northwestern, over under 43. I don't know. They played Penn State 17-7. This can't be any scoring in this game. Wisconsin, again, has no offense. I'm not quite sure how good their defense is. Illinois just crushed them. CMU, Ball State, what should be an easy over. I don't know. CMU is not looking good. My Kent team, 3 over Miami of Ohio. In Miami of Ohio, very interesting. They don't have their quarterback, Miami of Ohio, yet, but their new quarterbacks played a few games. So we'll have to see because the way Kent plays, this should be a good game for Kent, but we'll have to see. Utah, UCLA, game of the week. Utah lane 3.5 at UCLA. You got a live dog. You got A versus A, and over under a 64. Well, this is definitely an over game. Question is, do I go over or do I take the dog UCLA against Utah? And this just like the Washington game, although Utah I think's a little stronger. I love their quarterback, a little bit better than Washington's rising. So this will be an interesting game. This definitely will be a high-scoring one, that's for sure. Auburn, Georgia, we talked about. Probably not a lot of scoring. Let's see. Liberty, UMass. Now, before I never would have touched it. Now I'm thinking, well, Liberty minus 26. Just blew out somebody on one of those littler teams. So I don't know, but I'll have to check the quarterback. UAB off of a loss against Middle Tennessee. Again, UAB lost to Liberty, and then they came back and smoked somebody. Georgia Southern, and now here they are against Middle Tennessee, who I see is an over team, and UAB is an A team with a strong defense. So spread's only 9. If it goes down to 8, I'll take UAB under a field goal. Duke, Georgia Tech. Now, this is very interesting. Georgia Tech stinks, right? They had a good win, but Duke's only laying 3 points. What the fuck? How are they only laying 3? Georgia Tech's a Z team. Duke has looked pretty good. This is a very bad spread here. Miami, North Carolina, we talked about. Miami laying 4 and 65. Again, this would have been a lock over, but I don't know what he's doing with Van Dyke. 4 touchdowns and 3 picks for Van Dyke. And if you look at last year, he probably had 40 touchdowns and 2 picks in 7 or 8 games. So I don't know what he's doing. They need to adjust that offense. Ohio State, Michigan State. Ohio State laying 25.5. Over under a 62. Ohio State's going to kill them. Michigan State's just, they got killed by Maryland. They got killed by Minnesota. I mean, Ohio State's going to roll them. It's just, do I lay the 19 or lay the 56? That's about it. They're going to kill them. Michigan State's defense is horrible, as bad as the Lions. So this is Ohio State pretty big here. Washington, Arizona State. We've seen Arizona State. USC killed them. Washington now off of a loss, needs the game. They should win. Ole Miss and Vandy. Vandy's turning into an over team, not a Z team. That's why I do this. Vandy's a Z team. Now they're an over team. Now, are they an over team because they played Hawaii and put up 67, or did they put up 67 because they got a good offense? And they've been scoring consistently. So Ole Miss laying 19, they're the A team, and the over-under 59. So which do I go over because it's Vandy, because they're going to score, and then I can't lay 13 points because it's, I can't trust Ole Miss. They have Dart, the quarterback from USC, who's a good quarterback. So I don't know. This is an interesting game I have to look into. UTSA against Western Kentucky, beautiful game. UTSA -5, and the over-under is 70. And UTSA is an over team. Western Kentucky, we know, scores a lot. Over 70, I think, is about as high as you can't start 75, 77s, but 70s I think is doable. But we will see. But that's a perfect what you want. Although Western Kentucky, are they really an A team and with an under defense, or is that just kind of they beat somebody 73-0 who was a Division II team? James Madison 10 over Ark State. I have to fill in my teams. I only started filling them in yesterday, so I don't have all the teams in. I know Arkansas State's an over. We know Madison's an A team. Beat App State, killed whoever last week. Over under 58. Maybe it goes over, but if they got a strong defense, maybe you take James Madison minus to 4. It's a hard call there. I'm not going to go through every game, just the good ones. Army, Wake Forest. Wake -15 with Hartman. Army's been struggling. Their defense has been rather weak. Wake killed them last year. They put up a 70 on them, and they got Hartman, and he's rolling. They lost to Clemson, and then they killed Florida State. So I think Wake wins this game. K-State, Iowa State. K-State -2. Very interesting game. Over under 46.5. I think it's more of an under than anything because Iowa State, it's 14-11 at Kansas. Kansas is rolling scoring, and they hold them to 14. So I think Iowa State matches up against the run of Kansas State better than anybody in the league. Maybe Baylor and Oak State can hold them, but that's about it. And they always beat Oklahoma. That's pretty normal for them. So I think there's probably an under. Iowa, Illinois, this is definitely an under, but the problem is they made it 36. What the fuck again? 36. There's a point you just can't go under. Like Iowa was at 34 a couple weeks ago to Rutgers, and they won, I think it was 27-10. So it was a 37. So if you didn't tease it, you lost the 34. So there's numbers. It's like laying 20. It's hard to lay 20. I can go 7-1 or 8-2. 10-4 doesn't add up, and then I can maybe go upper 60s down to 60, like with Oregon. But I can't go once you're in the 70s because there's turnovers. There's too much that can go wrong, and I love the overs in the 50s. Those are my favorites. Washington State, USC, very interesting game. Washington State, their quarterback's it's Inkenard Ward. The guy comes to Washington State, and he looks really good. I think he just was trying to get his feet wet. Now he's learning the offense. They're scoring. USC, we know, is going to score. Washington State's got the good defense, though. Don't kid yourself. This is a very strong defense, even though Oregon lit them up. They're laying 12. I think this is Washington's. I think the only play here is Washington State in 18. I'm not quite sure to go over with Washington State because look what happened against Oregon State. It was 17-13. I still can't believe that score. So Washington State, they got fast defense. They got good corners. They'll put pressure on them. I don't know. I don't think this is a very strong under against a very strong over. And what do we know? You don't bet it over if both teams aren't like Illinois, Iowa, 200 teams. I can see taking it under, even though it's 36. It's close. But this is not over. This is Washington State, USC. This is over against under. And you got to love, you can't go over 61. Maybe you can, but it's not. It's kind of about as max as you can get because USC is not going to march up and down the field. They're going to pull an Oregon State on you. Notre Dame BYU, very curious game. Notre Dame's playing much better with Pike, who played a few games last year. This game is in Vegas. This is not in Notre Dame or BYU, which is a very strange Notre Dame, the Catholic schools are playing in Sin City. I love it. Notre Dame laying, it looks like it's 5 or 4. No, it's 4 and 52. BYU's looked terrible the last few weeks. I think Notre Dame gets the win. As bad as they've looked, they started to play better. And I can see them winning this one. I think BYU's just, I don't know what's their deal. Alabama 24 over A&M, over under a 52. Again, you're handcuffed. You can't. How do you play A&M in an over? And then I can't take 30. I can't go against Alabama. They just crushed Arkansas. But their quarterback's questionable. The new guy came in and he ran all over the place. So, again, they got another fast quarterback who runs. I think they're doing a little bit of Lincoln Riley's offense. Well, we'll have all the receivers run down the field, and then our quarterback will run. Very stupid offense, but Lane 24. Now, this is revenge. A&M beat them last year. Alabama will be fully focused. A&M does not have a quarterback, and they will stop that runner. A&M doesn't score in this game. It's just how many will Alabama get? I think you lay the 18. The question is the quarterback. What's going on? Oregon, Arizona. Now, this is a very good game. Oregon 12.5, 70. Again, over City here. Arizona, very good quarterback with a weak defense. Oregon can light it up, give Oregon 50. Does Arizona stay in there? Do you go over 64? That's your only questions. Is 70 too much to play? Are you going to get points from – if you get points from Arizona, you go over. If you're not going to get points from Arizona, then you take Oregon and lay the 6.5, and that's really what you got to figure out. There's always like a puzzle that you figure out in each game. Let's see. Boise 7 over Fresno State. This turned into the under of life. Fresno State just fucking lost to Connecticut. Boise's terrible. Really no offense on the field here. Over under 48. See, this is one of these surprise. What should have been an over preseason is a good under now. Hawaii, San Diego State, Oregon State 6.5 over Stanford. What's going on with Oregon State's quarterback? Stanford should score, but Oregon State can play the tough D. I'd almost say if Oregon State, if Luton is injured and not playing, it's almost go under because Stanford, they don't score that much, but they can score. They're probably a live dog here in Stanford. Over under. I think it's more of an under game. I don't know. We're going to stay with that tough defense. I mean, you can't ignore that what they did to SC. Stanford has that weird offense. They hold it in the running back's gut for 10 minutes, read the safety, and whatever he does, then they transform off of it. They did get me 27 points for the lock against Oregon, scoring late. So they can score, just took them a while. We're going to stay with that lightning strike defense. I don't know. It's a real tough one. Maybe Oregon State, even if the quarterback's playing, they should beat them, but I don't have a good feeling on that. So that's kind of a look at next week. So 17-2, 4-1 on the locks. And this is what I say. There's always, you're not going to go 5-0 on the lock. So I'm 6-1 on the locks, hitting Dallas and Jacksonville under with the 4-1. So I'm 6-1 on my locks. Got a lock going tonight. There's always that one loser. That's why we differentiate our bets. That's why I have a 21-unit lock, 1. I have another 21-unit lock, 1. I had a 15-unit lock, lost with Wake Forest. I just had a feeling about them. And UCLA, Washington, it's a little bit of I loved UCLA, but it's still Washington two good teams. So that's what you're really looking out for, is that. So keep your eye. So you got to look for the Alabama quarterback. Is he injured? Does backup looked okay? Oregon State quarterback. So now you got to check your injuries. So superficially, we looked at the thing. What the fuck's going on with Van Dyke in Miami? You're taking a lock away from me because they're playing North Carolina at 65, which is an easy lock. What the hell are you doing? And then you've got teams off of a loss. So if we look at teams off of a loss, SMU UCF is playing. Okay. So they postponed it till Wednesday. I wonder if I should put the playback on. So I had played that game over. Then the hurricane came. So that was my Cincinnati over with UCF over. So I might put that game back on because it is being played. It just was moved to Wednesday. Okay. Interesting. So I guess they'd honored the bet, even though they didn't play it that day. I think it's still, the bet's still in, I guess. Let's see. So who's off of a loss? That's good. I think Houston is. Let's see. Florida State's off of a loss, and North Carolina State, they play each other. Clemson's starting to get their act together. TCU and Kansas both won. Oklahoma's off of 2 losses, but they lost their quarterback. So is Oklahoma falling in a new coach and a new system made for Dylan Gabriel, who got hurt? So does the new quarterback know this UCF system? Michigan got over a big hurdle with Iowa. Missouri played Georgia tough. They've got to be flat this week. Florida, they're not all that. Tennessee is smoking. LSU won this week. Arkansas off of the Alabama loss. So they're embarrassed. They should be pretty fired up against Mississippi State. They're a good team. I love Jefferson. I don't love what he did against A&M. They should never have lost A&M. I think Arkansas has got a few injuries or defensive problems that are there. They're an over team. Pitt. What's going on with Pitt? They lose to an easy one to Georgia Tech. So I'd watch them. I wouldn't play them. Oak State could be a little flat after beating Baylor. Texas Tech lost to Kansas State, but they're not. You don't think of them off of a loss to win. You do Oak State or Baylor. So Baylor will be pissed the next game. Wisconsin off of another loss to Illinois. Kent got the win. Utah, UCLA, both winners. Now UCLA, big win with Washington. They're not going to be flat here. This is for the Pac-10 crown in the playoff. So look for this to be this is the Rose Bowl game. So this will be a great game. Georgia giving up 22 for 2 games. I bet you they shut them out here. East Car is very strong. Tulane, I got to look at. Miami, we got to fix them. Ohio State's looking good. Michigan State's out. Washington off of a loss to UCLA, should be focused, but they go to the desert. Not, man, this could be a good place for them. Old Miss, Air Force. What did he? All right, Wake off of a nice win at Florida State. Army off of a bad loss to who did they just play? Georgia State. So they're losing to Georgia State, and they get a Wake Forest with Hartman looking good. Yeah, I don't think so, Army, not this week. K-State, Iowa State. Iowa State just lost to Kansas, must win. Kansas State just beat Oklahoma and then just beat who did they just beat? They just beat Texas Tech. I think this is a very good, probably tease the dog game. Iowa, Illinois. Illinois' favorite. When's Illinois been favored over Iowa? So, again, Illinois is a better team, strong defense. Over under 36. It's not going to get there, but it's such a low number. But I do like the under there. I'm not going to say Iowa after the loss. They just don't have the offense. USC looking strong. Washington State looking strong. This is almost tease the dog. Notre Dame's getting better. BYU, weak game against Utah State, for Christ's sake. They can barely handle them. I think Notre Dame going to. Alabama, this revenge game against A&M. Coastal Cars looking good. Oregon, Arizona. Oregon with a big win over Stanford. Arizona, explosive. Big win over Colorado. I don't see Colorado this way. I can't bet against Colorado. That's what sucks about when these buys, right? You're all lined up. Okay, I got my team, and then they don't play. You're like, fuck. And that's an Oregon State, Stanford. Oregon State got crushed by Utah. I look for them to play a good game. The question is the quarterback. Stanford's is what it is. So you don't really – we'll look at the pros tomorrow and see who's got the back against the wall, which we love to bet on. Again, one emphasis is weak favorites and tease the dogs. Two big betting methods. The weak favorite, like here – Nevada 3 over Colorado State. That's a weak favorite. Nevada, how can they be favored? Bowling Green, favorite over Buffalo. Those are weak favorites. Even Pitt, 14.5. They just lost to freaking Georgia Tech. I would say Boise 7 over Fresno State's favorite, but Fresno State just lost to Connecticut, so they got a lot of problems. San Diego State's a weak favorite. So you've got your weak favorites. So weak favorites, it's more in pros. So what did I teach you last week on weak favorites? So I went through the weak favorites, and I says, Detroit, why would they be favored? How are they favored? And, of course, they lose. The Giants, weak favorite. You cover in a teaser. Indy, I said, why was Indy favored against Tennessee? I had Tennessee pretty good. That didn't make sense. Indy is not a good team. Why were they favored? Pitt, why was Pitt favored? Again, weak favorites. Carolina, why was Carolina favored? And I had Arizona, and I gave you, they were 10-0 as a road dog. That's where these trends come in. So let's look at that trend for 2 seconds. Play against Atlanta as a home dog. You got to win with Cleveland. Seattle, 23-4 as a road dog, 24-3 now. Baltimore is a home dog, 5-0 is now 6-0. Play against Pitt as the home favorite, 16-3 is now 17-3. Play against San Diego, 44-8 is now 45-8. Arizona is a road dog, 10-0. Play against Carolina as a home favorite, 8-0 is now 11-0 and 9-0. Denver's the only one that got me as a road dog. I think I pushed on this and lost on this. As a road dog, 11-2, and play against Oakland as a home favorite. This is the only time it didn't work. It was either a push or you lost by a half. I know on a card I lost by a half a point. Kansas City, Tampa. Now, here's where you got to be careful. Yes, Brady is 12-1 as a home dog, but he wasn't a home dog. By game time, they had been a 1 or 2 point favorite. Now they're not a home dog. Now it's Kansas City is the dog, and the whole bet changes. That's what you got to be careful of when the favorite changes. If KC remains the favorite, I think Tampa wins the game. But as soon as Tampa goes favorite, now KC can play because they're not being fixed anymore, and they play their game and they kill. So that's where you got to be careful. Tampa Bay was not a home dog, therefore it really wasn't a trend for them. So that's where you look at these weak home favorites. And, you just, when you see a team favored, you go, why was Detroit favored? They can't win in the SEC. They would probably be lucky to win 3 games. Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi State, Mississippi. They'd all beat the Lions. I mean, and you're making them a favorite against Seattle. Seattle puts up 48 points. Are you insane? So this is obviously the worst defense in either college or pro. And it's just and somehow they seem to score offensively. It makes no sense. All of a sudden, Goff's good, but he's only good when they're down, right? In this type of game, he's good. If it was 21-17 and Detroit needed a score, they wouldn't be there. That's the difference. The Lions will score when they're down 17. All of a sudden, they score and they make the game close, like they could have won. Hey, we only lost by 3. They're great at doing that. Even the Washington game, they're up big. Washington creeps back. That was it. But, I mean, otherwise, if they play Dallas, they'll get shut out. Dallas will stone them. I mean, they're so strong defensively. That was really my favorite lock was Dallas under yesterday. Jacksonville I took because I watched them against San Diego and they look so strong. And then they get a pick 6. I'm like, no, not enough. I couldn't believe I won it because it's 30. It's 20-14 and a half. It's 35. I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. I'm under 53, but on my bets with my friends, it's 50. I go, oh, there's no chance. And I go swim because I can't. I keep watching touchdown. So I'll walk away. And then I look at the final, 29-21. It's a 50. And I go, oh, my God, I won it because they kept going for 2 and missing. So they missed. So that's 2 points. So it would have been 52. I would have lost the card. But I still won the lock at 53. And the cards got pushed. So nothing happened. But that's what you look at. So that was definitely, you want to play unders. You want to play strong defensive teams more than you want to play strong offensive teams because the strong offensive teams, look at Miami. You got Van Dyke and they can't fucking score. Like what is, he throws a few interceptions. I assume it's because of terrible play calling and you've changed your offense where Van Dyke would throw the ball 30 yards downfield. He's not. Now it's little short checks and he keeps getting these balls intercepted. And you're like, what the fuck are they calling? Or they're getting blocked, knocked down. So that's the problem. The coach is killing my Van Dyke. But if you bet a defensive team, your Iowa under, your Wisconsin, Illinois under, those are more apt to come true because unless there's 5 turnovers, like the only time I lost with Wisconsin unders, they played New Mexico State and they gave them like 5 interceptions, 2 or 3 were pick sixes or the ball at the 10-yard line. Wisconsin didn't drive, but against a normal team, like Illinois ran the ball down their throats and Wisconsin couldn't drive and it was an under. You're going to get that under with Wisconsin's and Iowa's more than you're going to get the over like with Wake Forest. look what happened there. Florida State didn't score. Like, I don't know if it was turnovers or what the hell they were doing. I thought they had a much better offense than what the quarterback played. He sucked. So I don't know. And Wake Forest is not a strong defensive team. Look what Clemson did. Look what Clemson did. So anyway, that's what you have to look at. And you want to play this, like, I'd rather play Washington State. Like, Washington State's got, well, who they got? USC. Yeah. See, I'd be more comfortable with Washington State staying within 18 because they got a good offense than USC winning by 6 against a strong defensive team, because USC could turn the ball over because of Washington State brings defense. USC doesn't bring defense. It's just the Oklahoma offense. And Washington State will give it trouble. But then how does USC stop Washington State, who's got a good quarterback who's developing, and they're getting a good offense? I mean, they held Cal 28-7. I mean, they've been playing very strong defense, which isn't going anywhere. So even against Oregon, there was 2 or 3 drives. Oregon had the ball inside the 10 and didn't score. They tried to go wide, and Washington State just came up and stuffed it. Like I said, the last couple of minutes, but otherwise, Washington State's a very strong team. Now, how much do you go against USC? But like an Iowa, Illinois under, that's definitely going to be low scoring. There's no question about it. Bonilla, hey, no, not much Bonilla, just going over college. What's my Tennessee? I don't like Tennessee's favored. They're laying 3. I would prefer taking them as the dog at LSU. I got to look at the injuries, but I mean, I really like Tennessee. They're a very strong offensive team this year. LSU, I'm confused by because I don't know what's going on. They seem to have a strong defense, which negates Tennessee's strong offense, as I'm just talking. So I don't know. I'm kind of probably going to other games than that game. I don't know. I'd probably take LSU in the 9, but I don't really like it. I don't trust LSU right now. I wish LSU was a 3, then I'd be taking Tennessee in 9. Derek, why is Georgia having big problems with these lowly teams? Real reasons. Well, there's a lot of injuries, and their offense isn't, there's something wrong there. I think there's injuries to their line and their running backs. Last year, they would pound it down your throat with Cook's brother, the other Cook, and they had good running backs, and they're just not running the ball like they normally do. That's why offensively they're not. Defensively, you got some injuries. It's probably mostly some injuries, but against Kent, there was one lucky play, and then they fumbled a couple of times. Against Missouri, they held in the field goals, but they just, I think it's just an injury thing. And, I think, I don't know how motivated they are for Missouri. And they'll be motivated this week against Auburn. That's a rivalry. And I look at them to shut them out this week. I believe that will happen. Auburn's got a good defense. I'm going to say like 31-0. That's how I view it. It should be a very low-scoring game, but they're just, when you lose 10 guys in the draft and on defense, the replacements are good, but if they get injured, then you're going to less experienced players. But I think it's their system. They get fast guys who can hit, and they get to the quarterback, and they still get to the quarterback. So I think that's about it. It's really a little bit of injuries and a little bit of injuries to their running game. It's shocking. I was shocked Kent got 22. I was shocked Missouri got 22, but they keep the games under. So fine, they only score 26. That's fine with me because I'm betting them under. But there's still, like, they should never have won this week, and they got the win 26-22, so they can turn it on enough to get the win. Just wait till they play Florida and Kentucky and Tennessee. Then you're going to see Tennessee might give them trouble. Kentucky will give them Florida. They're going to kill Florida. But Kentucky and Tennessee, then we'll see the best. Then we'll see the real Georgia team. Right now they're kind of dicking around, and they're the champs, so you kind of play a little bit on moral. And, you lost a lot of studs. I mean, the number one pick in the draft was their defensive lineman who was just crushed everything. So, again, it's a little bit of that, but I think they're fine. They killed Oregon, and look at Oregon now. So we'll see what happens, but I think they'll get up for Kentucky and Tennessee because they'll get scared. They're not scared now. When you play Kent and you play Missouri, who has no offense. Against Auburn's a rivalry. I look for them to wake up a little bit more here. And then you got the Tennessee game is going to be, because Tennessee can score. This will be a very interesting game. Georgia's got to really get to the quarterback. That's what Georgia does so well, is put pressure on the quarterback. So we'll see. But they're a little bit, probably a little bit of injury and a little bit of the new player. We'll see. Alabama, they got their quarterbacks hurt. The second one comes in and does the same running crap, but that's what I see there. But I still think Georgia's the best right now. Alabama, I don't know. I don't understand. It's 28-23. Arkansas is making their move. And then you just do a run up the middle, the quarterback scrambling. And see, here's the difference between Georgia and the rest. Georgia doesn't allow the quarterback to scramble. Georgia attacks, gets in the backfield, and that guy on Alabama, the quarterback who ran that 75-yard running around in circles for the touchdown, never happens against Georgia because Georgia doesn't spy him and wait for him to come and fake him out. Georgia attacks and gets him in the backfield before he can start. That's your difference between Georgia and everybody else who will spy him. No, attack him. Don't let him have time. These running quarterbacks they can't read that, and they don't know how to dump the ball. But if you let them run around and go, that's a different story. So, Derek, look at Mr. Jackson last night. What the hell was he doing? This is why I don't like him. He looks good most of the game, and then what happens? Fourth quarter, game's on the line. They haven't scored in a half, and he throws an interception in the end zone, and they lose the game. That's my problem with Lamar Jackson. It's not that he's not a good athlete, and he has his plays, but when the game's on the Buffalo never should have won that game. Where was Lamar the whole second half, putting up a couple of touchdowns, icing the game? That's what I have against him. Then at the end, when he should run, what does he do? He throws an interception. Now, I blame the coach for not kicking the field goal. That's just the normal. It's 20-20, and it's 4th and 9 at the 9, and you're going for it. Are you insane? You kick the field goal, you take the lead. There's not much time left. You force the other team into tying it, or if they want to get a touchdown, you cannot, because the pressure is I must make it to tie the game versus, well, the game's tied. There's no pressure. If I miss, it doesn't matter. Then we go to overtime. But if I have to make it to tie the game up, that's pressure. And that's the whole difference. And that's where I'm looking at Harbaugh like he's a freaking idiot. And then he's quoting analytics. Well, they would have went for it on 4th down. So what? You got a good defense. So you stop them. I was like, they've only got 20 points in the game. They're not lighting it up on you. Take the lead. You can't go, well, if he didn't throw the interception, they'd have had the ball at the 2. It doesn't matter. They had the ball at the 20. They drove right down your face and kicked the field goal to beat you. So you don't stay tied and then they get it at the 2. Kick the field goal, go up 23-20. It's the stupidest coaching I've ever seen, except for the San Diego coach who goes for 4th and 3 at their own 25. The coach play call, kick the Yeah, exactly, Derek. You always gotta take the points. There was another game on, I think last night. I don't know. Team had the ball at the 20 and they went for it. No, it was the I think it was the Tampa Bay Kansas City game, and they didn't kick the field goal, and you're like, it was Tampa Bay had the ball at like the 21 of KC, 4th and 2 or 3, and I'm like, kick the field goal, take the points. He either got it or he didn't get it. I don't remember, but I was like, what the hell is going on with these coaches? Not, you're at the 20, it's 4th and 3, you kick the field goal. If you can't do that as a coach, you can't coach. I'm sorry. That is not what a coach does. You're supposed to win the game. You need points. Why do you keep going for it on 4th down? And then I've never heard this excuse. Well, if we would have kicked the field goal, then Buffalo would have went for it on 4th down. Dude, there's a minute left in the game. They're going to go for it on 4th down. Maybe you try having defense stop them. I mean, it's so you throw a pass from the 9 and it's intercepted. How are you going to win if you don't take the points? You got to get points. That's how you win the game. You score more points than them. That was the stupidest, lamest excuse I've ever heard in my life. Well, we went for it to leave them at the 2, and you don't kick a field goal, and you call that play. You call a pass play with Lamar Jackson at the 2 or the 5 or the 9, wherever they were. Are you insane? There's no room. Tom Brady can barely. Rogers, they can barely. When you're that close, there's no room for the offense. Brady throws that fade to Evans. Okay, that's beautiful. Lamar Jackson's not doing that. Okay, I hate to break it to you. He ain't Tom Brady, and doesn't have Evans, and he can't make those beautiful one-handed catches at the corner of the end zone. Lamar Jackson's not doing that, and until he learns how to do it, you cannot throw in the 5-yard line, 10-yard line, because they're playing 7-8 men. Now, if he would have tried to run and ran an option, then I would have agreed with it, but I still would have kicked the field goal. But it goes back to art of war. Play to your strength. Your strength is not Lamar Jackson throwing the ball. Your strength is Lamar Jackson running the ball. Run the option. What was he at the 2 apparently? So let him run the option. He either scores or you leave him the ball at the 1. He's probably going to score if he's at the 2 running the option, but not passing the ball. Are you kidding? Against that defense with no room, you're going to pass the ball with Lamar Jackson? Are you crazy? So anyway, that's my point about him. So anyway, lock tonight. What I have 8 locks, 6-1 with lock number 8 going tonight. Again, Wake Forest. It just kills me that I lock Wake Forest and they lose, and here I got East Carolina just sitting there, and Arkansas State has tremendous locks, and I don't play them, or even Arizona, which I knew they were going to kill Colorado, and this is the problem with it. You don't know what to lock. I mean, so I could have had 10 locks. I could have locked those 3 games, and they're all easy winners. But that's the thing. So you try to play it. Again, I never play locks. I don't have a plan. I'm going to have 5 locks. I might have none. If you watch my baseball videos, I would look at the game. And if the game, if Verlander's pitching, it's a lock. If he's not pitching, it's not a lock. So there's criteria to making the play a lock. That's what I'm looking for. So I don't know how many I'm going to have. I might have 0. I might have 5. But anyway, I've been pretty hot on them. The USC Fresno State over. Okay. And then this one. So the only locks I've lost are those 2 overs. All the under locks have been Georgia under, Iowa under. They all been very nice. Derek, worst thing, Buffalo, tie it with a field goal. Fire coach, don't put your quarterback in that position. I think they should fire the coach anyway. I think he's a terrible coach. I agree with you there. But again, the one thing Belichick did was play to his strength. He let Brady win the games for him. He was smart enough to let Brady win it. And I told you Zappe was good. He looked good against Green Bay. He was a little shaky when he first went in, but in the second half, he let them on drives. They had Green Bay beat. He looked very good, Zappe. So he plays the Lions. What's that line? The line is New England with Zappe is a 2-point favorite. I love it. And they'll beat the Lions because the Lions have no defense. But he'll be smart. He'll play to Zappe's strength. And Zappe, I'm telling you, I mean, trust me when I'm giving you these quarterbacks, he's the best quarterback on New England. He's just a little bit raw. But if you play him now, he's going to be like a Brady, right? What did they do? Brady came in just like this on the injury. And then when the guy got healthy, they kept Brady in the lineup. You watch. Zappe, Jones will never get his job back. This is Lou Gehrig all over. And Zappe, a great quarterback. Well, Derek, the worst thing that the coach said is, well, we didn't kick the field goal because we didn't want Buffalo to go for it on fourth down. What the hell kind of answer is that? I've never heard of a stupider answer. And that's what I keep saying. These analytics they're not proven out that they work. They're not gospel. That's not how you do it. You don't do it on analytics. So all the other coaches were wrong when they punted it on fourth down, kicked the field. Do you think Bill Walsh would have went for it in a tie game? You wouldn't have kicked the field goal, or Lombardi or Landry or Parcells? Parcells, that's an automatic. I got Lawrence Taylor. Jimmy Johnson, you don't think he would have kicked the field goal all day? Even the Miami teams, he would have kicked the field goal. That's what you do. You take the points, you take the lead, and then you stretch it. So at the end of the game, kicking a field goal to win, who doesn't kick the field goal to win there? I mean, way too much with this analytics that isn't proven that it actually works. And that's the other point. It's not working. I don't get it. It doesn't work in baseball. How many championships have the Oakland A's won with this analytics bullshit? You cannot win with formulas. It doesn't freaking work. You cannot formula what I do. People have tried. Good luck. How do you formula? Alabama A&M, go formula. Oh, the backup quarterbacks, and go formula. I'll put that in your formula. How's A&M's defense? They just got crushed by Mississippi State. How do you formula that? You can't. Plug in the point spread, and what are you going to get? And I love these guys on BetMGM. What a bunch of idiots. This is why I tell you not to listen to that crap. They'll give you a game, and they'll say, Hawaii, San Diego State, take San Diego State. And then you want to take them. And then I'll ask you why, and you go, I don't know, because those idiots told you. Are those idiots on my level? I don't think so. Do they know what's going on? I don't think so. They're wanting you to bet and lose money on BetMGM. Oh, let's play props. This guy will get 52 yards. What the fuck? Who knows? The problem is you don't know. You don't track it. Where are you tracking how many 50-yard games this running back gets against this team? Who the hell knows? It's stupid. I can give you the winners. I just went 17-2. I 6-1 on my locks. I can give you that because I can see it. I can't tell you that Spencer Sanders on Oklahoma State's going to throw for 300 yards against Baylor. Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? Who wants to bet that shit? I can only bet that I'm going to tease the dog in the game and it wins. That's what you bet on. Hey, Sean, does the analytics play into any fixing of games? No, not at all. Fixing of the games is based on the line. So normally what happens is there's a team's favored by 8. And, look at that Cleveland-Pittsburgh game, right? The one we all know it was fixed with the laterals. So Cleveland's laying, what were they laying, 7 or something like that. Or Pitt's getting, and everybody bet Pitt is the dog. So they needed Cleveland to score. And Pitt runs this lateral play that has 0 chance of winning. And they make sure it goes into the end zone. And then they make sure nobody's around so Cleveland recovers. That's a fix. That was based on that everybody bet the under because it was Pittsburgh, who has no offense. And the under was going to win. And so they needed points to score, or everybody bet Pitt, and Pitt was going to win. And so for Cleveland to win and go over, we needed that touchdown. That's a fix. That had nothing to do with the analytics. It's all based on betting. So if everybody, when you see Alabama win by 37 and the spread's 40, it's because all the money's on Alabama minus 40. And so Vegas makes the phone call, okay, you can win, but not by 40. Win by 37. Nobody will care. That's how the games are fixed. That's why we bet teasers, because when I tease a 7 down to 1 and it's fixed, means they won't win by 7. So they win by a field goal. But in teaser world, we're laying 1. They're not fixing the teaser bet. They're fixing the spread. And they made it 7. So that's the fix. So that's why we tease. And that's why we turn losers into winners all over the place. Like Ohio State 25 over Michigan State. That can easily be a fixed game where they say, well, you can win by 21. But if I tease it to 19.5, they're not looking at the fix on the teaser. So Ohio State wins by 21. We win on the teaser. You lose betting 25. That's exactly how it's done. Because who's going to bet Michigan State this week? So that line will shoot up to 27, 28. You tease it now at 19, and then they win by 22. And Vegas makes a bundle because everybody bet Ohio State. That's basically what it is. Vegas controls what? DraftKings and BetMGM is all bullshit. So just stay away from the props. Try not to listen to these morons because they're giving – it's like what I'm struggling with in economics now. Nobody knows what inflation is, and I get so pissed about these people pretending to be Austrian economists that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's not because they don't know, it's that they affect people like you who go, oh, this guy says inflation is rising prices. No, it's not. You fucking printed the money. It takes more money to buy the same good. So this is $1, but now the cost of the dollar went down. The value of the dollar went down. This now costs $2. That's what inflation is. They didn't raise the price. The dollars got lowered. That's what it is, but they'll say, well, it's this inflation is this pen went up. No, it's the dollar lost its value. That's why I spew gold and silver. I think I told you over the weekend I went, guy doesn't have any more gold. He'll get a few in from people selling it. But what you want to do now is store your gold and silver, leave enough money out to live on until gold and silver goes through the roof. When they say bank holiday, I would get all my money out. If they're saying there's a bank holiday Friday and today's Monday, I would run, not walk to the bank, pull all your money out, leave enough for your bills and run and put it in your safe, or go get one of these U-Haul safety boxes, or where you store your furniture. And I would put it in there. I would not leave my money in the bank. I got paid, and I immediately ran to the bank this morning and pulled out most of the check because A, are they going to let me get my money? And B, do I even have any money in the account? Fortunately, it went in. I was able to get the money. I took it. I took the cash. It's in the safe. And I'm like, okay, fine. And at worst case, if I need the money, I got the money and I can pay my bills with it. Derek, easy game this weekend was Vegas. They had to win. Their back were against the wall. I predicted that easy. Against Denver, I don't agree with that. The second vanilla. I don't agree with that because they're not a good team. Now, let's look at this week's back against the wall is Tampa Bay. They have lost 2 games in a row, and they get Atlanta. And they're 8.5. Bet that right now before it goes to 10. That's the back against the wall. Tom Brady, after 2 losses, now Green Bay and Kansas City, and he got his receivers back, and they're playing Mariota. This is going to be ugly. This is take Tampa immediately. I mean, that's a back against the wall. You're doing it with Brady. With Oakland, it's like Detroit's lost 2 in a row. You're going to jump on them. Their back's against the wall, but they suck. They can't beat anybody. So therefore, you're not getting all excited taking Detroit. You can only take good teams. If Alabama loses and they're mad, or Georgia, yes, you can bet them. But you got to have a good team back against Cincinnati. Tennessee was playing some weak team. They're playing, so there you go. And then they're a home dog. They had to win the game, but they were okay to win it. Oakland, they weren't the dog. They were playing Denver. They got lucky. They scored late. I lost. I had Denver in 8.5. I had Denver in 9. So I got to push and I got to win. And I got a loss by 0.5 point. But I didn't think that Oakland was going to kill them. I didn't think it was going to be easy. Manila, how do we sell good for profit? Don't you in exchange or sell the physical? How do we sell gold for profit? Is that your question? Don't you use an exchange or sell the physical? Sorry, meant to say gold. Well, okay, gold is money. So if you've ever been to Europe and you exchange your money for euros, it's basically what you're doing now is you're exchanging your money for gold and silver. Why do you do that? Well, because we can see what's happening to the dollar. It's being devalued. It's losing value, right? Now meat's more expensive, tuna's more expensive, Cheerios, everything's more expensive because the dollar is not really more expensive. It's the dollar's really losing value. That's what's really happening. When these idiots print the dollar away and they keep printing, they lower the reserves and they do all this bullshit, that makes the dollar weaker, meaning instead of $5 to do something, I need $6 to buy the pen. I don't need $5 anymore. I need $6. That's what the inflation is. That's what the power. When I buy gold, what gold does is it goes up because it's like the pen, right? It takes more dollars to buy the gold. That's what's happening. You buy physical. You sell gold for profit the same way you sell a Rolex or a painting or, you got a Mickey Mantle card. How do you sell that for profit? Well, it's the same thing. You take it, you can go to the coin store and sell it to him, or you can go on eBay and sell it. I would not sell it now because gold's about to hit $20,000 an ounce because they're going to revalue it based on it's being suppressed. The real gold price is not $1,700 an ounce. That's the bullshit COMEX derivative price because the U.S. wants a monopoly on dollars. And we all know how good monopolies are. They don't want you buying gold and silver, and they think that you're all stupid and that you don't know what's going on. But if you see the gold price down to $1,650, you're not going to be interested in it, right? It's not. It's like when I see a line that's wrong and I comment on it and I go, like the Kansas-Houston line, why did it go down 6 points? It makes no sense. And then they went way over, which is how the game should have been played. And that's where you're sitting there going, that's the same thing with gold. Gold should be much higher, but it's being suppressed by the derivative market, which is paper. So they're selling paper to keep the price down, but everybody's holding gold, waiting for it to go up. All the central banks are buying it as fast as they can. China, Russia, India, they're all buying gold because they know it's about to go through the roof. And when you hear one of three things, they call it a black swan event. When Russia or China says we got 20,000 tons of it, gold's going to explode. When Saudi Arabia announces that it's no longer just taking American U.S. dollars for the oil, we're going to take anything because they're mad at the U.S. for they accused them of killing somebody. And the third one is when you hear bank holiday. When you hear bank holiday, run to the bank because that's going to cause it. People are starting the stock market. I don't know what it's doing today, but as the stock market is crashing, it's down to 28 being manipulated up by them printing money, buying stocks with it, going to go down. Once it breaks 25, it'll go to 20. Once that happens, what do? You're like, oh my God, I got to get out of the stock market before I lose all my value. What do the idiot financial planners do? Oh no, don't sell now. Keep your money. So you'll lose it all. We don't care, but don't get out of it because it'll come back up. What are you, insane? The Fresno State quarterback's out. Why would I still bet Fresno State? The quarterback's out. He's a great quarterback. He broke his ankle. I'm not going to keep betting Fresno State. So keep paying. You can't pay the stocks because the stocks are going to go down for two reasons. Earnings will not make it with inflation because things cost more, but you can't pass it on. So I can't sell a Camry that I was selling for 22 grand for 30 grand. Not only does nobody have money to pay 30 grand, but it's not worth 30 grand. I'm not going to pay more than 22 for it. They won't be able to sell it if I have to put it on sale. Even though their costs went up, they can't pass the cost on. Secondly, the market will drop because people will need money. Oh, I need money to pay rent. I need money to eat. My utilities are going to go through the roof. I need money for that. Oh, I have stock in Microsoft. Well, I'm going to sell 500 shares. And everybody sells to get their money, then creates the market dropping and dropping and dropping. And then emotion takes over like it does in football. And what did I just tell you to take Tampa Bay minus 8.5? Because I want you to bet it before it hits 10. Because I want you to get it under 3. That's critical. And that's my point. Because emotionally, if that number starts going, you're going to bet it because you go, oh, something must be going on. I'm going to bet it. It's like these idiots with the Bitcoin. No offense to anybody out there, but I'll be at poker and I go, I'm in gold and silver. Well, I'm in Bitcoin. Why are you in Bitcoin? I don't know, but it's going to go up. Why is it going to go up? They can't give me an answer. Would you listen to me if I didn't give you a reason to take Kansas? Because whatever their reasons are, or Clemson, or if I didn't give you a reason for my picks, I wouldn't expect you to listen, and I wouldn't listen to me either. But I give you a very detailed, this is why we're betting this game. But they can't give you the why in Bitcoin. That's the problem. So to sell your gold, hold it, wait till it hits 20,000 an ounce in the next 6 months, roughly. I think by the end of the year, when the bank holiday comes, they're going to reset gold. That's what you're waiting for. Don't sell it unless you absolutely have to. Why get 1,800 for it when you can get 20,000 for it? All I can say. You're going to buy a house with it soon because when the dollar goes out, it won't be priced in U.S. dollars. So right now, it should be more valuable. When the U.S. dollar goes to zero, gold is priced in dollars will be $20,000. But now it goes out. Gold keeps the value and goes up. And it's going to be worth even more. Now you'll buy a house with an ounce of gold. It won't even be in a dollar because the dollars won't be there. And what's going to happen is all these currencies around the world are going to use gold as the anchor because they know they've ruined all the money. So now everybody's fucked. Every country, Japan, China, Germany, Italy, England, and it's coming here, are broke. The currency's gone. They fucked it up. It's zero. The only thing you can do is now come out with a currency backed by gold. But what do you think that's going to do to the price of gold? Shoot it through the moon, and guess who's coming with? Silver. So you want to buy money. So I hope that answered your question, Vanilla. Derek, so going 0-4 with playing KC at home, Vegas will not beat KC at home. I'm not quite sure I understand your question, but I think what you're saying is that they lost and we're 0-4. They're going to lose to KC, so they'll be 0-5. Yeah, but they're playing Denver and Russell Wilson, so I didn't look at that as they're only favored by 2. They weren't playing a weak team, so I disagree with that. I do understand your concept that they have to win this because they got KC, but I'm still not going to play that concept that their backs were any more against the wall, that they can do anything about it. There's a reason they're 0-3. They're not a very good team. They have a good coach. San Francisco tonight, I feel, is a crucial game. Lock San Francisco, they will win. I don't know. Rams are pretty good. It's a hard game to lock Frisco in when you are playing the Rams, but Frisco plays them very well. We'll see. It's not a game I would lock Frisco in. I'd lock them against the Lions or one of the weaker teams, maybe Indy, but not against the Rams. You don't really lock against. Derek, New England is 1-3. You play Detroit, who your defensive coordinator coached. Lock New England, who desperately needs to win. I'm having trouble understanding your comments, Derek. I think what you're saying is New England at 1-3, and the offensive coordinator, Patricia, was their coach. Yeah, but he didn't have golf, and Detroit's got a better offense. Their defense sucks. I don't know. What's the spread? I think New England's favored. I don't know that I'm going to lock New England as the favorite against Detroit, but I think New England, I like that Zappe's the quarterback, so I'll give you that. By the way, Manila, do you have any thoughts on cryptocurrency like Ethereum or Zola? Unless you can teach me about crypto, why I would buy it. I'd rather buy this mug that says Bellagio on it than crypto. Why would you buy crypto? What is it? First of all, it's nothing. There's nothing physical. There's no gold to it. It's not money. It's not currency. I can't go to Target or go buy dinner or go buy groceries with it. So it's a pyramid scheme. So my thought on the cryptos are it's not real money. Now, I'm an economist as well as a pretty damn good football picker. I know that just as well. And you got to buy an asset. Is that an asset? My Canadian club is a bigger asset than crypto. Crypto is not an asset. It's nothing. It's really, you know what it's for? It's for the Russian mafia and the Chinese mafia so they can buy their drugs and the prostitutes and nobody knows. That's what it's for. That's who invented it. That's the point of it. It's gotten, why do you think it's so vague? And then it comes here. It's not even a stock. It has no value. You can't explain the value, only that people buy it and it went up. So people are jumping on it thinking, it'll go up. So I ask you, why did it go up? There's no earnings. There's only 21 million. Well, yeah, I've heard stories like that before. Even if it is, you can go buy a Tom Brady rookie card that's numbered 376 that I have. Wouldn't you rather have a 376 if you're looking at something limited, a Tom Brady rookie card that I can actually hold? Wouldn't you rather have that than a $21 million Bitcoin that I don't know what it is? And if I lose my password, I'm fucked. I can't get it because there's no way to get it. If I lose my Brady card, maybe I can find it. But if I can't find it, I lost it, but I've had it. So crypto is a scam. It's like the gold price fixing, and it's like this price fixing, the football fixing we're talking about. That's all it is. It's not real. Nobody can explain it to me, and I understand it isn't money. It's not gold and silver. You can't trade it. I was reading my notes from my college, and there's an example of what money is. And I'll get it for show tomorrow. But money has to be shared. I have to be able to walk to the store and give them money. And you can't do that with crypto. They have to be online and get it. What if the internet fault? What if the electricity goes out? How do I use that? But I have gold. So the best way to sell it, wait till gold jumps. You can either go on eBay or you can go to a store that buys gold and silver. You asked me where I buy it, and I was just in there the other day. And I will show you. So this is where I go. I highly recommend them because they will ship it FedEx. This is recent. This is the name, and this is the phone number. And I hope you can read it. That's where I go. That's where you buy it from. You buy it, you walk out. You give him cash, give him credit card, you give him debit card. Not a problem. He'll take it, and off you go. And there's no tax. Now, if you're in a different city or state, I was in Alabama, and it was like a $15 FedEx, and I got it second day. There's the FedEx. Open it up. The gold and the silver were in there. Not a problem. Very honest guy. Good prices. He's whatever everybody else is. And I laugh at him because I said, do you understand that silver is really about a $2,000 an ounce coin, not the $23 you charge me? And he goes, I don't think he understands it. He just sells it. And I just laugh. The price is up. It's 25 today. I go, no, it's 2,000 an ounce. I'm buying for $23, $24. So thank you, Comex. So you're taking advantage of the low price. It's like buying a new Camry for $5,000. Would you buy it? Or would you think, well, wait, what's wrong? You're only selling it for $5,000. And my point is, it's a $30,000 car. You can get it for $5,000. Would you buy it? Yes. That's what gold is. It's a $30,000 an ounce thing. Would you buy it for $1,800? Of course. No thought process. It will move. Right now, the U.S. doesn't want gold to go up because the U.S. doesn't want people to run out of dollars, because then it'll be what the emperor has no clothes, where everybody can see he's naked, but nobody will say anything. And then a little kid says, oh, you don't have any clothes on. That's what's happening. So if the U.S. loses the dollar, they're fucked. So the government won't be able to control you if everybody buys gold and silver, and you won't need the government, but the government wants to be needed. Let's see. So vanilla. So that's that. Where can I buy gold? So I just showed you where you can buy it, hold it. Then when it hits 20, 30,000 an ounce, go ahead and sell it. I would now, it's really not an investment, but it is now because they've been suppressing the price. So if this was normal, the price would be 30,000. You probably wouldn't be able to afford it. Silver would be 2,000. You'd probably be able to afford a little bit of silver. So I'm telling you ahead of time, just like I told you, take Tampa minus 8.5 before it goes to 10. Buy your silver at 23 before it goes to 2,000. It's the same thing. Yes, I know that's what's headed because they're fucking up the dollar, and I understand why they're fucking up the dollar. And as long as they keep doing that and they think they're okay, raising the interest rates will definitely cause a recession, will definitely cause the stock market to crash, and won't do anything about inflation. Inflation, you printed too much money and it's lost its value. What the hell does raising interest rates have to do with anything? The reason it worked in 1980 was because they raised it to 20%. People would put their money back in the bank to take the 20%, but nobody's putting their money in the bank 3%. When the money's so heavily inflated that you put 20 grand in at 3%, you pull it out, it's worth 10,000. So you're going to lose money. That's why bond markets should crash and the stock market's going to crash. Between companies losing money because we're such a credit country, when you raise rates, what that is really making money cost more. That's all an interest rate is. This is how much I want for the money. So when you go buy a car, they didn't want to get, so it's 30,000 for a Camry. Well, they're going to raise the interest rate to 5 or 6% because they know with inflation, they're not going to get the 30,000 back. They're only going to get 25. So in order for them to get the 30 plus the, okay, I lent you the money, the 33, they got to make interest high enough to get 33 back. But even then, it's not going to help them because they'll never really get 33 because the inflation will make the money worth less. That's what's happening. That's why the interest rates on the house go up. That's why the housing market's crashing. You can't afford it. And that's why the stock market will crash because it'll be too expensive. Nobody's going to buy cars. I did a directed study on this. And basically I said, when interest rates go up, you get out of the car markets. So if you got stock in GM, Ford, Toyota, Mercedes, sell it. Tesla, nobody's going to buy it. The interest rates will go up. It'll be too expensive, too much fixed costs. So the companies can't, because they own so much plant and equipment, and they don't pay for it up front. They take loans out. Well, all those interest rates went up. So now the whole cost of GM just went up through the roof. How the hell are they, so they're not going to be profitable. Their cost just went up. You sell the stock because the earnings are dropping. You don't buy stock for bad earnings. You buy it for good earnings. Well, there's not going to be good earnings. All right, that's enough of that. I agree. Tampa playing Atlanta, who can take over the first place in the division. Atlanta Falcons really, no Tampa wins. Yeah, Tampa. Well, you've got Brady off of 2 losses. They played pretty well last night, but now they play a weak Atlanta team. It's just the perfect scenario. I'm wondering if an ounce of gold is priced the same everywhere. For instance, buying it online versus physical ounce of gold. Yes, it is. If you buy it, if you go on www, Joe's Gold, or you go into the coin store, it's all the same. If you go to Romania and buy it, it's all the same because it's priced in US dollars. That's what's going to be reset. They're going to take it off of US dollars because there won't be US dollars to price it to. And it'll be priced. Now, if you watch the movie Goldfinger with James Bond, in it, the price in Switzerland was different than the price in Austria, was different than the price in Scotland. Each country had their own price. Then it went to all priced in US dollars, and the US dollars that's why it was the main currency. Now they're all fucked up. They think they can just print whatever they want. They can't. The more you print, the less it's worth. So now gold, but even if because I'll check currencies, I'll check it in Ukraine, I'll check it in England, and it doesn't matter if I went to Canada, England, Amsterdam, or went here, or went to Florida. It's all the same. They're going to look at it. What is it? And it's all on COMEX. So this is a huge buying opportunity for everybody, especially silver at 23 an ounce. That's a freaking dinner right now. 23 an ounce? Are you kidding me? That's nothing. So that's my point with that. So go ahead and buy as much silver as you can. So make money with me and turn it into silver. That's what I do. I just bought more gold and silver. I bought 5 tenth ounces. I got a half ounce because that's all he had. He had 1 Cougaran and these little tenth of an ounces. Gold's gold to me. So I bought 5 and I bought a half ounce and I bought another 20 silver. And I'll always go in and buy 10 or 20 silver. I mean, that for $200, and the thing is, you're buying a silver ounce for 23 an ounce that's worth $2,000. That's the biggest thing. And everybody's like, well, it hasn't gone up in value. So until I see it go up in value, I won't believe it'll go up in value. And that's where I'm telling you it'll go up in value. But most people are they don't know. So they're well, I better play it safe and wait till it goes up. Well, when you wait till it goes up, it's going to go up from 1,800 to 5,000 or 10,000. And then good luck finding it. So not only will you not be able to find it, but the price is going to be so expensive that you won't be able to afford it. So how much money do you have? So let's say you got 50 grand. You can go buy, 25 ounces right now. Wait till the price goes up. If you can find it, it's going to be 20,000 an ounce. You're going to get 2 ounces. You can get 5 now. You're going to get 2 then, or you can get 10 now. You can get 2 then if you can find it. And that's where I come out of the woodwork going, hey, I'll sell it to you for 50 grand. I paid 1,800 for it. I'm buying it because I know I want to have it. So I don't really care what the price is at this level, 17, 18, 19. If I was paying $19.50 for it and now it's $1,800, I don't care. I didn't lose. I bought the ounce. It's accumulating the coin, and get physical. Do not buy ETFs. They are not real. There is no physical in there, and they will not protect you. Only the real gold, only the Brady card. You bring the card. You got to have the physical. You got to go buy the coin. You can buy, they have the James Bond little bricks. They got big bricks, and then they got little bricks from Switzerland. So you can buy those, but you want to hold it in your hand. Never pay sales tax because it's not an item that you need to. It's money. But I'm hearing some states, I think it's Ohio and some other state, where they want to charge you sales tax. Well, no, it's not a sales tax item. Do not pay it. Go to different stores. If you need, use mine. He will never charge you sales tax on gold. I go and I pay it. And that's it. Derek, Buffalo remembers Pittsburgh from last year. First game Pitt won. Now Pitt has new quarterback. Good luck, Mike Tomlin. Buffalo wins. Kansas City plus 13 or Kansas first plus 13 versus TCU. Who may in for a bit of a letdown after killing OU? Looks like pretty good, you think? Well, I don't know. TCU looks so strong. Kansas, I think the only way to bet this game's over because I think it hits 100. TCU could run it up on Kansas. I like Kansas, of course. I've been on them the last 4 weeks, and they've been easy wins. If you do, I'd play it small. I'd look at the over before I'd play the 13. And we locked Kansas over with Houston, and that was easy. How good's TCU's defense? That determines what you do here. Kansas played okay, but they beat Duke. And then last week they played. Here's the thing: they played Iowa State, beat them 14-11. Who's got a good defense? TCU's got a good offense, and they lit up Oklahoma. That's what scares me about this game. Can Kansas stay in there? So I don't know. My gut says the only way I can play this is over. I seen TCU, and they got a quarterback who's super fast. They can light it up, and they could easily beat them by 20. But I think Kansas will score on them also with their offense. So I just think it's an over. I think it's the only way to play it. Buffalo Pitt, Pitt probably will start Pickett, and Trubisky we knew sucked. See, I don't understand that. Trubisky was nothing at North Carolina. The Bears waste a first-round pick on him. 2 years later, they get rid of him because he stinks. Pittsburgh picks him up. What, do you think he's good now? I don't get it. If the guy stinks, he stinks. Now, if Mahomes was on Pittsburgh, I would expect him to be the superstar, or Brady, or Rutgers. If they were on Pitt, I know exactly what I'm going to get. What the fuck are you doing with getting these? Like, why is Atlanta starting? Whatchamacallit? I don't get what's the guy? Mariota. He stinks. How they score? Did you see his stats? 7-13 for like 100 yards and an interception. How did Atlanta win the game? I don't get it. But Tampa, he ain't going to do nothing. Believe me, they won't let him do anything. And Brady is pissed off. Brady does not like to lose. He has now lost 2 games in a row. Granted, Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes, perfectly understandable. But not this one's 33-0. I mean, they will kill Atlanta. But that's back against the wall. That's what you wait for, right? That's what you look for, is that. I wish Buffalo had lost. Then it would be Buffalo, Tampa Bay, backs against the wall. Huge bet. That's what I wanted. I can't believe Baltimore let me down. And now Baltimore is a 3.5 point favorite over Cincinnati, who's finally getting in gear. You got to be. Why is Baltimore favored in that game? Anybody? There's no reason that Baltimore should be the favorite now that Cincinnati's finally playing. All right, they beat Cincinnati. Now they beat Miami. Now they're getting going. Their back was against the wall. Now they're winning. Burrow feels comfortable. Their defense is playing much better. Can somebody explain why Baltimore is favored? That goes back to the weak favorite. There's no reason. They just blew the lead with Buffalo. What are they going to do against Cincinnati? Cincinnati's better than Buffalo, in my opinion. Okay, maybe not. I'd take Burrow over Allen all day. So that's my point. Why is Baltimore favored? They just blew the lead with and they couldn't handle Buffalo. So we're going to blow out Cincinnati? Come on. Now with their coach, we'll go for it's 4th and 20. Yeah, no, we're at our own 25. We'll go for it. We don't want them to go for 4th down. I mean, you got the worst coach in the league there. Anyway, so that's what's happening. Look out for the stock market. It's crashing. Get out of it. Just sell it. Take your money. Go buy gold and silver with it. Do not buy ETFs. If it's in your IRA, just sell it. Take the hit. You're going to make it up for it with the gold. Leave enough gold. Leave enough money to pay your bills for a few months. You don't want to cash in your gold for bills. So you're in a catch-22 where you got to buy gold, but you just want to buy, you just want to own the coins. You do not want to be in an ETF. Those are scams. You do not want to. Now, you can buy a gold stock. That should go through the roof, but not yet, because their financial statements are set in gold at ETF at COMEX prices. So Newmont Mining has a gold mine. How many tons of gold do they got? But it's priced at $1,500-$1,600 an ounce. Well, when they reprice it and gold's at $20,000 an ounce, all of a sudden the value of the Newmont mine went up just a little bit from $1,500 to $20,000. The earnings will go through the roof. It's gold. People will run to it. But you can't buy it now because people are selling all their stock to pay for the bills. So you got to be careful there. I think that's it. It's almost been 3 hours, so it's been fun. I will do another show on more stocks and gold. I feel it's needed. I feel that most people don't know what they're talking about. And if you look at these idiots on YouTube, most of those people are clueless. And they're all like putting their shoes on. Oh, there's going to be a recession. Oh, really? I never heard that one before. Oh, silver's going to go up to the roof. Oh, really? Never heard that one before. I've been telling you that for a year and a half now. And until you see it go up, see, the problem is until people see it go up and get off COMEX, nobody is going to buy it because they don't trust it, because they don't know. It's like buying Bitcoin. Why? I don't know, but it'll go up. Well, why aren't you buying gold and silver? That will go up, and you actually have a coin. Bitcoin, you don't have anything. So that's the amazing part is people will spend $20,000 on a Bitcoin or whatever it's at now, but they won't spend $1,800 on gold because you actually have the freaking ounce of gold. You don't think gold's going to go up? Oh, no, gold won't go up. That's just the idiots telling you that, and that's just like the guys on BetMGM. You're trusting people you don't know that just want you to bet because BetMGM's about you betting and losing, right? I want you to win, so I give you the details. I give you the games because I want you to win. And I get a lot of customers who say, I'm taking this. I'm betting on this. I'm taking Georgia under. I'm taking this game because I'm teaching them and they're learning what to look for. And they're going, oh, so I'm not. There's a saying in economics, I can give you a fish and you'll eat today, or I can teach you to fish and then you'll be able to eat every day. I'm teaching you how to pick. I'm teaching you about gold. That's why this is a class. So you understand what to look for and then you can bet. Derek's catching on. Team's back against the wall. That's a very good handicapping method. There's many that I give you. Weak favorites is another one. Oh, why is this team favored? Why was Detroit favored against Seattle? That's a weak favorite. That's a team that should never be favored, was favored. And look what happened. They got murdered. So that's another betting, handicapping method. But when I'm giving you gold and silver, they're not methods. It's just facts. Inflation reduces the money. People will run to gold and silver. But right now, people are brainwashed into not buying it, except for all the central banks are buying it. So why would the banks buy it, but not? It's not good for us. Really? Does that make any fucking sense? No, it doesn't. Sean, absolutely listen to every session. Well, thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. That means I'm doing a good job. I'll ask my girlfriend and I'll go to her, do you watch my videos? And she says, yeah. I go, do you have any questions? She says, no. I says, really? She says, you explain it so well that there's nothing to really ask you. And I get what you say and you explain it. See, the reason people don't understand is it's communicated at like a level that nobody understands, and it's done on purpose. I don't know if it's because the guy really doesn't know, and therefore he explains it uses big terms and big levels, and people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that's because he wants to look good because he doesn't know. He's just talking. There's a silver guy who does that, and he's one of the scammers, and he sells the ETF. And so, he talks, and I scratch my head going, what the fuck are you saying? And I wish I could get him live, and I would just eat him up. And so he does that because he doesn't know. So when you hear these people, like look at when you hear the Federal Reserve Chairman talk, nobody knows what the fuck he's saying. I don't know what he's saying. You're going to raise interest rates or not? And if you are, you're causing a depression. And the only way out of it is gold and silver. That's the only way to beat you. And that's what I'm doing. I know how to beat them. And that's what I'm telling you. And I try to make it easy. Go to the store, buy it. Buy silver if you don't have a lot of money. At least that'll go up to 2,000 an ounce. And it's all going to be off US dollar because it won't exist. And then they're going to come out with a dollar that'll be backed by gold and silver. And that'll be how it ends. We'll have new currency backed by gold and silver. And by the way, if you have gold and silver, you just made a fortune. So keep it safe and keep it simple. Where, if they do want you to turn it in, they'll never ask for your silver. But if they do ask you to bring in your gold, never do it. Don't admit to it. Hide it somewhere. Take it to Canada. I mean, don't give it to them. Just hide it. But don't tell anybody you have it. And just keep it out. I think what I'm going to do is buy some brass, put it in my safe, take the gold out of there. And if anybody takes my safe, they'll just be taking brass. I got that from Money Heist. But that's it. I don't think that'll happen. It happened last time because we're on the gold standard, but we're not on the gold standard now. And if we go on it, they're not going to take our gold. That's ours, and they can't take our property. So that's basically what's happening in the world, and every country's going through it. Europe, the same thing. They're paying for the energy stuff. There was explosions in the Russian pipeline, which serves oil and gas, natural gas to Europe, and there was 4 explosions. Who did it? Well, my bet would be the U.S. because you always look at who has something to gain, and Russia doesn't have anything to gain by not selling natural gas to Europe. That's how they make their money. So they wouldn't do it to themselves. Germany wouldn't, Europe wouldn't do it because they need the oil. The only person that gains is the U.S. because then they got to buy the U.S. oil. So, and putting it by these guys, this government, it's so crooked, it's ridiculous. So just be leery. Listen to what they say. Don't believe anything they say. They say it to control us. That's the key. That's what's been happening for years. So just be careful with that. This is come to me. I'll answer your questions. I understand it, but they don't want you in gold and silver, but all the central bank, because they want you to rely on the government and the dollar is crashing. It's an old car depreciating to zero. Your best bet is gold and silver, not the derivatives, not the ETF, not the IRA. You want to own it, and you don't want it in a safety deposit box in the bank, because what will happen is there'll be bank runs and the bank will close and you won't be able to get your money out and you won't be able to get to your safety deposit box. So never leave anything valuable in a bank or any government thing. Find a freaking U-Haul and do like there's that one show where they lock up their stuff. I can't remember the name of it, but that's what it is. Thanks for all the valuable information. Bonilla. It's my pleasure. That's what I'm here. I'm here as a teacher. Where else can you learn how to bet football? Where else can you learn what gold and silver is and inflation? Nobody breaks it down like I do. And that's why I do it, because I know nobody else does it. They're all salesmen trying to sell you, oh, please buy my picks. Do they even post the results? I post my history on my site. Here's what I did. I lost the Wake Forest lock. I won the other 6, but I lost that one. Okay. So but I'm telling you why I lost it. And I'm telling you why I won the others. So that's what I'm here for, because there's nobody else that can do it or wants to do it, or they all want money for it. I'm not teaching you gold and silver and football for the money, although they are the customers for the picks. That's a different story. But for like the gold and the silver and how to pick games, I'm not charging for that. That's a valuable service, and you can use it for anything. It's all about figuring things out, analyzing, problem solving. That's what this is. I'm basically problem solving the Oregon State Stanford game. I'm problem solving. What's the problem? Picking the winner. What do we look for? That's what this whole thing's about. Notre Dame, BYU, Alabama, it's revenge. So we're looking at something that makes us pick one team or the other, but we're problem solving the game. And I call it poker because each week there's different. Now Kansas State plays Iowa State. Last week, Iowa State was playing Kansas. So it's a whole different game. They're not playing Kansas. Now it's Iowa State, Kansas State. Kansas now moved to TCU. Every game's isolated, and you can't really look at – you can kind of use it a little bit, but Kansas played Iowa State 14-11. We won with it, but now it's TCU, a whole different animal. We can't just blindly take Kansas because they played Iowa State good. How are they going to match up with this TCU offense, which lit up Oklahoma? And do we use that for Texas to light up Oklahoma? This is what we got to see. Anyway, thanks for watching. www.teaserking.com. I do have a lot going tonight. And then I've already locked next week, but my site starts Tuesday at midnight. So at midnight, the next week shows up. So you'll see that. I've already placed a few locks on there. But anyway, there is a lock tonight. This is lock number 8. I think it's 8, 7, 3, 5. I think this is lock number 8. But anyway, lock going tonight, and off we go. So again, www.teaserking.com, and let me know if you can email me. You can get my email there and ask me questions and comments, and then we can go from there. And that's where you can buy the picks and the locks and everything else. Okay, everybody, have a great day. Good luck to you, and stay safe. Go buy your gold and silver. You're going to buy it at a coin store, and then you're going to sell it on eBay, and you'll get, like if you buy it at a store today, you might pay $1,800, but if you sell on eBay, you might get $1,900, or you'll get the fair value on eBay. You don't want to really sell to a buyer. You don't want to sell to a seller. You want to sell to a buyer. What I mean by that is I don't want to really sell it to the coin store because he's not going to give me the fair value. He's going to give me spot. I want to sell it to a buyer who's going to pay. So in other words, it's $1,700. He sells it for $1,800. I'm the buyer. I'll pay $1,800 for it. That's who you want to sell it to. But if you sell it to him, he's only going to give you the $1,700. So if you go on eBay, you get the $1,800. Or you contact me and say, hey, you want to buy some gold? And I'll say, well, I normally pay $18 and you're going to get $17. Why don't we do $17.50? You get $17.50 instead of $1,700, and I get it for $17.50 instead of paying $1,800. We both win. So that's what's happening. All right, everybody. Great day. www.teaserking.com. I will talk to you tomorrow. Good luck tonight.